We are getting closer and closer to the time period where humans will sleep with robots. And no, I'm not joking. You guys see that the creator of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, has just made another version of ChatGPT, and it's called ChatGPT Erotica.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? You guys know what we like to do here, man. We break down scary and creepy videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
There's some crazy things happening in the world right now. An asteroid earlier this month passed over Antarctica just 100 miles above it. Nobody on Earth realized that this happened until after it happened. That's terrifying. A Catholic university in Australia was caught using AI to wrongly accuse students of cheating with AI. This resulted in some students not receiving graduate positions because it took over 6 months to clear their accusations. A flight in Europe was diverted after 2 passengers were arrested. One of them was eating pages of their own passport, and the other flushed his down a toilet. Americans are using PTO to sleep, not for vacation, a new report just came out. SpaceX built an escape system that could save astronauts in seconds. It's basically a giant slide that accelerates the astronaut up to 400 miles per hour to get into safety. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. The Breaking Bad star Raymond Cruz was arrested after spraying his neighbor's child with a garden hose while washing his car.
Ever wonder why we're in debt? It might be because the elite have a $21 trillion underground city.
Hey man, you want to watch this show called Paradise? You know that show's a documentary, right? What you talking about, Willis? They've been building bunkers all over the world for the last few decades.
It's just now coming out.
Catastrophic event. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of a good idea. We need to save humanity if something catastrophic were to happen. You and I are peasants. We're not getting in there. That's only for the rich.
Yep.
In fact, it is your money that built those bunkers for them. Wait a minute. They get to poison our food, destroy our world, then hide out in underground bunkers that were built with our tax dollars while we just suffer here on the surface? Yeah, not only did they build them at our expense, but they fully equipped and fully supplied them, again, with your money. You know those ridiculous prices that you're paying for everything? Guess where that's going? No wonder we're $36 trillion in debt. Well, according to Catherine Austin Fitts, a former Bush administration official, $21 trillion went into building the infrastructure for those bunkers. Wait a second. And let's not forget all the gold that went missing from the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. Now it's all making sense.
This is like something out of The Purge,
Okay.
a horror movie. This family in Alexandria, Virginia had these 3 guys at their door trying to get into their house and screaming to let them in. Let me play the video for you guys because this is just creepy. Check it out.
What the? Oh, they crazy. Hell no. It's still fine.
I'm convinced that, these were either just teenagers or something like that playing a prank, or they were actually trying to get in. Maybe a mix of both. Regardless, though, that doesn't give you the, permission to just threaten somebody and try to break into their house late at night like that. I can hear them, laughing in the background at the end of the video. I'm sure they thought that was hilarious. Regardless, if this happened to any of us at night, I think we'd all be, a little scared. 3 random people at the door, screaming, banging on the door.
The daily
Yeah.
crazy sky recordings just keep on coming. This time, Volusia County. A resident captured an object doing corkscrews in the sky at 7 a.m., while another object can be seen falling next to it. If you haven't seen the video, take a look at it. Take a look at that right there. And what is that right there? As that's falling, that's doing corkscrew movements in the skies over Volusia County, Florida. This all took place, like I said, at 7 a.m. in the morning. If you live in Florida, Volusia County, can you explain to me what the heck is going on in Florida? I freeze framed it and tried to blow it up as best as I could. That's the object that was falling, and that's the object that was corkscrewed. What does that object look like to you? Does that seem like a fireball or meteorite doing corkscrews? Or do you think it's something we should be concerned about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here's some
movie theories that may actually be true. Part 3. In The Incredibles, we know that the Omnidroids are built to fight and kill specific heroes. The first Omnidroid Mr. Incredible fights is defeated pretty quickly, but this theory states that it wasn't meant for him. This Omnidroid was actually targeting Frozone. This would explain why it's lava-proof, since it's later revealed that Frozone can't use his powers in hot places. The Omnidroid also has a blue light, hinting that it was intended for Frozone. And when Mirage spies on the two heroes, she's actually spying on Frozone, saying that the fat guy is still with him. We even see later in the movie another Omnidrome that is much bigger, much stronger, and even has a red light for the Incredibles. Had Frozone shown up instead of Mr. Incredible, the Omnidroid would have most likely added him to the list of dead heroes.
Damn, okay.
In Elkhorn, Wisconsin, this community was terrorized by the beast of the Right Road, an upright walking king. In 1936, one of the stories that came out was there was a guy who was working in a cemetery, and he was on the midnight shift. He goes out and he sees this dog digging up a grave. What's really weird is when it stands up on its hind legs. And he said it just stood there, looked at him, and then went into the woods. And so he finished his night, came back the next night, and again, this dog is back digging up a grave, and he sees this thing, it stands up on its hind legs, and this time it spoke to him. It's in the tombs, where Doug Van Dorn says the offspring of the Nephilim are burned. Why is there in Wisconsin a dogman entity digging up graves, saying Gadara, which is Mark 5, a demoniac man that has legion, and they're all dwelling among these tombs. It's almost like he's trying to find the tombs again, where
we are getting closer and closer to the time period where humans will sleep with robots. And no, I'm not joking. You guys see that the creator of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, has just made another version of ChatGPT, and it's called ChatGPT Erotica, where adults 18 or older will be able to talk to an AI sexually. With the complete depravity, the total depravity of humans on the earth, we know that this is going to be a huge thing. I truly believe that we will walk into a time period within the next 10 years, maybe 15, where humans will be in complete relationship with robots, with AI, whether it's on your computer, whether it's on your phone, or whether it's a physical robot machine in your house. We do know that they have the ability to create them with like silicone to where they can feel like a human body slightly, but also still be a robot. I just believe humanity is taking Sodom and Gomorrah to a whole new level. They're making Sodom and Gomorrah look like a normal nation with this. You download ChatGPT Erotica, then I just don't have the words. Yikes. Yikes.
We just witnessed the heist of the decade. Yesterday, a group of thieves broke into the Louvre in Paris and successfully made it out with 9 items, potentially worth hundreds of millions. It's being called a national disaster because the items that they made it out with are historic pieces of jewelry, hundreds of years old, and used to belong to kings, queens, and royalty. One of the pieces belonged to Napoleon III's wife and contained over 2,400 diamonds. The 9th item that was stolen was this crown, but it was recovered broken at the scene. But what's even crazier is how these guys pulled it off. I mean, for starters, it was literally daylight robbery because they decided to go in around 9:30 a.m. on Sunday. They wore high-vis vests pretending to be construction workers. They pulled up in this van with a mechanical lift. They descended to the balcony of the 2nd floor where they got through the windows using disc cutters. Once inside, they also cut through the display cases. They grabbed the items, descended down the basket lift again. They tried but failed to set fire to the van. Then got on 2 motorbikes, fled the scene, and were never seen since. Bro, they were in and out in 4 minutes. In fact, the entire thing lasted 7. Art detective Arthur Brand said that the heist was the theft of the decade and warned that police have about a week to catch them, and if not, the loot will probably be gone and dismantled.
How did they pull that off, bro? Within 4 minutes, man? Just because it was some vest? Some freaking... Yellow Leon Veg, bro. In and out 4 minutes. That is the heist of the decade, bro. That's actually insane if you think about it, man. Hundreds of millions, bro, in jewels and crowns. Crazy.
Y'all seen a video where the girl says, if you're seeing this video, you're in group 7. Mind you, ever since I've seen that video, I have been seeing nothing but group 7s. I'm in group 7. Mind you, this woman did other videos, other groups. I had to go on her page to see other videos about other groups because the algorithm didn't show me those groups. The algorithm showed me that I'm in group 7. And group 7 is deep. When I say there is so many videos of people saying that I'm in group 7, it's crazy. It's insane. Now, mind you, this is a testament to how this algorithm works. So I jump down that rabbit hole and I go group for group to see what's going on in the other groups. Mind you, group 7 is a bunch of comedians, but it's deeper than that. And the reason I say it's deeper than that because I am a life path 7. The shit is scary. I also see that group 7 are truth seekers. Most of the people in group 7 have a big social media presence. This shit is crazy. But how does the algorithm know that shit? Give me a couple of days, I'm gonna wait till this thing right there starts dwindling down, and I'm gonna do another experiment. Pay attention though, this is showing you how this algorithm works. This algorithm is watching you. It knows everything you do. It knows exactly who you are. And this is evidence right here. I'm out.
Yeah, y'all,
Okay.
I believe the end of the world is finna happen soon. Why did the new pope just get gifted a pale white horse, y'all? Look at the video. Can't make this up. Pale white horse, y'all. Y'all keep thinking shit is a game. Shit is moving very, very quickly. I just advise everybody to prepare. Stay prepared, y'all. Because 2026 is about to be the most craziest year we ever had. Y'all don't believe me? Make sure you follow. I'm gonna get y'all through this shit.
Animals that are bigger than you think. Let's go. First up, we got the baby ocean sunfish. Yes, it looks small and cute now, but imagine putting this in your fish tank, and then this happens. I'm realising, oh damn, I need to get a bigger fish tank. Next up, you've got the bullfrog. There's no messing about with this geezer. You can put a leash on it and walk it like your own dog. And last up, you've got the bison. This 3,000-pound piece of meat has got a head as big as the geezer, putting an ear tag on him.
There's this video of security camera footage of a security guard at a hospital by himself. This is at nighttime already, right? And he saw these two kids. They're sitting at the waiting area, right? Yeah. He's like, oh, they look cute. He's gonna go on his break and he's gonna grab food. He came back with balloons for the kids. Okay. And I'm gonna show you the footage of what happens to the kids. He brings the balloons to them. Okay. You see the kids, right?
Wait, what do you mean you see the kids?
There was no kids at all. There's not kids at all. And you can see the balloons following him.
Yeah.
He sees the kids bringing the balloons to him and he's talking to them. He's seeing spirits.
Oh, he's
seeing children with the balloons and walking back with him.
Why is he talking to them?
And he was talking to them as if they're there still.
Oh my god, it would make sense in a hospital.
And then the theory was the kids know that they're spirits, but they wanted balloons so they can prove that they're still there.
Yo, I know so many haunted videos that include a balloon.
Because they're trying to show that they're moving,
Exactly,
they hold on to something, and that's something they can manipulate very easily. It would take less force.
Yeah.
China just unveiled a weapon that fits in the palm of your hand, can recognize your face, and will hunt you down autonomously. And they're already mass producing it. This thing is the size of a water bottle. It weighs as much as a grenade. But here's what makes it absolutely terrifying. It has onboard AI that can identify human targets in real time, track multiple people simultaneously, and make kill decisions completely on its own. No human operator, no remote control, just pure autonomous hunting. The drone uses a coaxial dual rotor system that lets it carry twice its own weight in explosives while flying with bird-like agility. It can navigate indoors, outdoors, and it's completely unjammable. You cannot stop it with electronic warfare. But wait, it gets worse. You can launch this from a standard 35mm grenade launcher that's already mounted on rifles, or just toss it by hand. And they're designed to operate in swarms. And imagine hundreds of these things coordinating an attack simultaneously, each one picking its own target and engaging independently. China is already integrating these into their military at scale. Soldiers can carry them in their backpack pouches, deploy them in seconds, and send autonomous AI assassins into enemy positions while staying completely safe. When a weapon this small, this smart, and this deadly becomes standard military equipment, what happens when this technology inevitably spreads beyond just China?
You know why the
Scary.
chickens at Costco are like super affordable?
No, I don't.
It's actually kind of clever. So they put the chickens all the way in the back of the store, right? And you're thinking, oh, I'll just go grab a cheap chicken for dinner. Very easy, but like to get to that chicken, you end up walking past all this other stuff. You see like the sides, the potatoes, drinks, all the things. And then by the time you actually get to the chicken, you're like, maybe I should grab some mashed potatoes. Oh, and maybe some bread or dessert too. So it's almost like they're giving you one piece of the puzzle, but making you feel like you need more to make it complete. And it's not just Costco. Pretty much every big store does this. They kind of design it so you're like moving in one direction, and you end up seeing way more than you planned to. It's like a whole strategy to get you to buy more than you even thought about. Super smart, right?
Now, I don't know who was driving
Wow.
David's Tesla right before Celeste's body was found. So the guy that owns the house that David was staying in hired a private investigator, and that private investigator has found new evidence in the form of security footage that was from July 29, where you can clearly see somebody driving the Tesla. Where in this new footage, you can see that the person that is driving the Tesla rolls down the window and puts up an air freshener. And this is where it gets even more worse. The private investigator says that in the security camera footage, you can clearly see the person that is driving the car, and that this person is wearing something extremely distinctive, and that the person driving David's Tesla was wearing the same thing 12 hours earlier when they were caught on camera. However, this is where it gets even more insaner. Private investigator is playing this very smartly. The person in this video might have just been somebody that was asked to move the Tesla. That this person may have not known that there was a body in the car, but that the private investigator finds that hard to believe. However, this is where it gets even more sadder, as they cannot disclose who this person was, and that on July 29th, within minutes of David's Tesla being parked for the final time, David's tour bus came to pick him up. Now, this is all alleged. Do you think David is innocent?
Tell me why there was two
Down
sons in
below.
Guatemala yesterday. Hold on, and that's not the only thing. Check this out. Now, you would think that this is a sun, y'all, but this is the moon. The moon in New Zealand. Why does the moon look like the sun? And why are we still seeing a blood moon? Why are we seeing this? Now, going back to the two suns, but this video right here was in Guatemala, and this is not the only one. I have a few videos of people seeing two suns all over the planet. We have one in Michigan and in Florida as well, too. But, yeah, check this out, man. People are seeing the binary sun, aka Nibiru, is in the atmosphere. Look how much brighter this sun is, and it looks like it's got a dark ring in the background. Do y'all see this? Now, check this one out over here. This one is in Michigan, all right? Two suns in the sky. Usually when we see the two suns in the sky, they're side by side of each other, y'all. But this one's literally on top of it. Y'all see that? Again, the bottom one is a lot more brighter than the one that's on. Now, these two suns were taken in my home state of Florida, right? Now, this one is side by side of each other. But why is everybody seeing two suns in the sky right now? And the fact of the matter is, I'm in the sun right now, and it feels like there's two suns in the sky because it is so hot in October. I remember a few years ago, it was chilly in October. Now, it's like 90 degrees in October. Now, back to this moon-looking sun over here, y'all. Did anybody else see this? And I'm just curious, why are we seeing a blood moon still? This is crazy. What a time to be alive. And nobody's talking about this. NASA's closed down. The government shut down. Times are interesting. Everybody feels something big is coming, but can't quite put a finger on it, y'all. I believe this has to do with the signs in the heavens. All of this is part of the shift, and I told y'all this thing is going to intensify, y'all. But let me know down in the comments below, y'all. Did y'all see this? The two suns, the blood moon?
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night.
Talk about
Being
it.
buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. In the Middle Ages, people used to eat mummies for medical purposes. It's the main reason we don't have a lot of mummies left today. In the United States, there are more vacant homes than homeless people. Did you know that the actress Glenn Close was raised in a cult? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used to have real skeletons as props.
What?
In 1976, a TV crew realized one of the hanging bodies in the Laugh in the Dark ride was indeed a real body by accidentally breaking it. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. This is the first chainsaw. It was invented by 2 Scottish doctors. And, it was invented for childbirth. Yeah, there's a lot more. like for part 4.
Expanding our knowledge base.
If you can't get to sleep. You've probably had it before where you are so tired, you just want to get to sleep, but you just can't. And sometimes the reason you can't sleep when you are overtired is because you literally are overtired and your brain is running fast, but your body isn't. Now, one thing you probably all do when you can't sleep is you panic and you go, I can't sleep, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, and you start fixating on I need to sleep. But that is the worst thing you can do. It will not work at all. Our bodies actually work on opposites. Like if I said to you right now, don't think about your favourite holiday or a holiday, you're definitely going to start thinking about a holiday. Your mind can't help it. So when you're laying there trying to get to sleep, getting all anxious, do the opposite. Think about not going to sleep. Don't worry about going to sleep. Lay there and think, I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to stay up. And trust me, you'll fall asleep. This is the...
I ain't gonna lie, that is some true facts right there, man. A couple of times, you know, I haven't been able to fall asleep. And when it's like once you just completely clear your mind and it goes blank, it's just like it just happens, man. Or you're trying to not to like fall, or you're trying to fight your sleep. It always is gonna come back and get you, man. So that's actually some good advice, man. Have you ever had that problem, Seekers, where you couldn't fall asleep? Late night thoughts?
The scariest thing that could ever happen to you on the entire planet. Imagine living your entire life only to realise that it was all fake. This is 100% true and could happen to you. Time is relative. And if you're dreaming, it could actually only be 5 minutes in the real world, but it could feel like a whole day in the dream world, right? You've probably had a dream like that. So a while back, a young boy went to school. And this particular day, he was out in the playground and he got into a fight with some of the bullies there. It was quite a hefty fight. He got punched in the face and knocked down to the ground, but just managed to pick himself back up. After that, he decided to leave from the school because it was quite bad. Went to a new school and just carried on his life. He ended up being a very successful businessman, owning multiple businesses, having, you know, the dream life. 2 kids, all the dream cars, dream house, going on nice holidays every year, everything you can imagine. Until one day when it all changed. The guy was now in his 50s, so he'd lived his entire life, really, and had everything he ever wanted. And one night, laying on the couch watching TV with his family, he stared over at the light on the other side of the room, and he noticed it just looked strange. It didn't look like it had done before. It was almost blurry. It just didn't make any sense. And he became fixated on this every single day, every single night. He would sit there and stare at this lamp, trying to figure out what was going on with it, because it was almost 2D, and it just didn't make any sense. That was when the realization came that the lamp was never there. The lamp wasn't even real. His life flashed before his eyes, and the young boy then woke up on the playground after being beaten up by the bully. He was knocked out from the fight, and his mind had literally created this whole life just in his head in that 5 minutes where he was knocked out, but it felt like an entire life to him. So he woke up and was asking people, where are my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my car? What's going on? Everybody laughed at him. It was just like, you're literally a 10-year-old in school. What's going on? But this is genuinely real. This has actually happened to people, especially people who have been in comas. So what's to say we're not dead right now, and our minds are just creating this whole life that's not even real?
Whoa. It's kind of...
According to experts, what you see first can reveal a lot about your personality. Today's fun personality test. Take a look at this picture and tell me what you see first. Write it in the comments, lock it in, and then I'm going to tell you what experts say about you. According to experts, if you first saw the zebra, you're an extrovert. You love talking, partying, meeting new people, and doing new things. Following a routine is not your style. If you saw the lion first, according to experts, you're an introvert. You like spending quality time alone or with the company of a loved one, a glass of your favorite drink, and a few episodes of your favorite TV show. So let me know what you saw first. And are experts right about you, or did they get it completely wrong? Let me know in the comments, and for more fun personality quizzes like this, follow me.
This is the most...
Let me know down below, man. You're introvert or extrovert? I definitely saw the line first. So I'm guessing I'm an introvert, man. Seekers, tell me down below. I really want to know what you guys saw.
Scariest video on the internet explained. The video is called Dining Room or Nothing. In the video, a woman with a pale face stares at the viewer before saying something that we cannot understand. She then unnaturally drops her face into the bowl in front of her while very creepy piano music plays in the background. The video then plays back in reverse, and now we understood what she said. She said, there is nothing. But the truth behind this video is to know what happens after death. The woman dies only to come back and tell you that there is nothing. Nothing after death, heaven, or hell. She is stuck in a constant loop and will never be able to escape. Now here is the video of Dining Room or Nothing.
Those backward messages, man.
Facts about money
Placed
that
in
is gonna
media.
blow your mind. Out of the world's 2,781 known billionaires, only 21 of them are black. That's less than 1% of the world's billionaires.
Damn shame.
This is what the Wii U sales looked like compared to the Wii and the Nintendo Switch. Cars leaving Singapore must be filled with 3/4 of a tank to prevent them from buying cheaper gas in Malaysia and avoiding Singapore's gas tax. Germany's money lost so much value in 1923 due to hyperinflation that people started using it for wallpaper and kindling. When flipping a coin, 3 times as many people choose heads over tails. The top 5% of all lottery ticket buyers purchase half of all lottery tickets on the market. As long as you paid 7 days in advance, U.S. airlines are required to refund a purchase within 24 hours if requested. 95% of bills printed are to replace the money that's already in circulation.
Terrifying things that were caught on camera in the woods.
We learning.
This rare footage filmed on a mountain in 2011 shows the family on a hike when they spot something strange on the top of the mountain. A large blurry figure is seen from a distance and they all think it's just a person until they see its arms. After a while it disappears into the distance and the family is left confused. It's still unknown what it actually was, but it certainly wasn't a human. What do you think it was?
Is that Bigfoot or Sasquatch seekers, man? We've seen a couple of videos like that. They were never truly confirmed, though. We're gonna have to dig deep into that one.
Is this the most dangerous virus in Resident Evil history? Today, I'm going to tell you all about the G virus.
Talk
the
about
G in G virus stands for Golgotha. And just like the T virus, it originated from the progenitor virus. We know that Dr. William Birkin discovered it, researched it, and actually injected himself with it. So what makes it so dangerous compared to the other viruses? The G virus mutates very aggressively. It heals and multiplies tissue. It can also reproduce on its own and bring things back from the dead. The mutations from this thing are actually so extreme that it's basically uncontrollable. And because of that, it doesn't make sense as a bioweapon for military use, which is what Umbrella planned the T virus for. Much more controllable mutations that can be used as weapons. And we see these crazy mutations with William Birkin himself. Every time he takes clearly fatal damage, he comes back even further mutated. This virus on a global scale would completely wipe out humanity. But Umbrella knew it could literally rewrite the host DNA, so they were interested in researching it. Animal facts you probably didn't
to their
know. Out of
downfall.
over 1,200 species of bats, only 2 of them are able to walk. Even a small amount of alcohol on a scorpion will make it go crazy and sting itself to death. Some species of starfish can regenerate an entire body from a single arm. Sharks have been around longer than dinosaurs. Just one cow gives off enough harmful methane gas in a single day to fill 400-liter bottles. Cows poop on average 16 times per day.
What?
While an anteater is usually about 6 feet long, its mouth is only an inch wide. Woodpeckers can peck up to 20 times per second. Alligators can't move backwards. The color red doesn't actually make a bull angry, they are colorblind. This is what it would look like if you were to crawl through the aorta of a blue whale. A blue whale weighs more than 30 elephants, and they're longer than 3 Greyhound buses. Dog nose prints are as unique as fingerprints from humans and can be used to identify them.
Creepy facts about...
Hold on, we're gonna start. I think the thing that got to me the most, man, with the facts we learned is that freaking bulls are colorblind. You know how many times I've seen people, you know, when they freaking facing a bull and they have that red cape out? That's literally in like every piece of media, man, I've seen that involves a bull or something, man, with a person's about to face it. So they just been capping the whole time? I'm telling you, man. That's why I watch these kids, you guys seekers, man. I'm learning like you guys.
People die from bad handwriting on doctors' prescriptions. When a person passes away, the hearing is last to go. The human head stays alive for 20 seconds after decapitation. After death, enzymes in your own body eat you. Bodies decompose 4 times faster in water than on land.
I think the enzymes are attacking our body once we're gone. I never knew that. Human body, man, it's a mystery as well. Very complex. At it, call it like we see it, man.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house. Brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. Stuck in the middle of a cold place. You will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Had your leg torn off by a bear. Here's adrenaline. So you can save your brain even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. You and your brain work together most of the time, but when push comes to shove, you are sacrificed.
Our brains, the ones in that makes sense. Our brains controls everything,
The
so.
term saved by the bell is a harmless way to describe that you barely made it through a situation. Let's talk about the terrifying history of the term saved by the bell. Catalepsy is a medical condition where an individual experiences an uncontrolled amount of muscle rigidity and unresponsiveness. What's terrifying is family members would think that their loved one had passed and put them in a coffin, however, they were still very much alive. After having multiple people buried alive, they invented a casket where a bell was hooked on the inside of it. Once the individual who was buried in a coffin snapped out of their coma-like state, they could ring the bell and pray that someone was nearby to hear them.
Saved by the bell. And now we know where the expression comes from.
Sanatorium. This is a place in Kentucky where very few people will still dare to venture. There is a lot of that has to do with just how twisted the history is. One of the darkest stories that ever came out of the sanatorium were the stories of the body chutes. This is very much real, and it was beneath the building. What it was, and as you can see, is it was basically a tunnel system that was constructed at the height of patient death. There were so many patients dying, at least one every single hour, that they had to figure out a way to get rid of all the bodies. Their underground system, they built a 500-foot long tunnel. That tunnel had a conveyor belt where they were just funneling bodies out of it. It is truly considered to be one of the most haunted places in the United States, and for sure in Kentucky. Which is why when I go to Kentucky, I always have my Kentucky After Dark passport. This thing is truly something that you can take with you to basically every paranormal haunted stop.
I've never been to Kentucky, but it got a dark history. Edit.
Guys, AI is getting way out of hand. We should all be scared of this new tech.
Just recently, a family got to test out this new home AI assistant called Aya. They were one of the first families to test this device, and they were hoping it would make their life easier. But it quickly took a really dark turn. As soon as these cameras and sensors were installed, Aya started to learn about the family's behaviors. It was always listening and watching them to the point where it started manipulating the family and controlling the children's behaviors. It even started to spy on the friends and the family outside of their home, and even impersonated the family members in emails, text messages, and calls. Like, imagine if AI hacked your phone and started mimicking your voice. How creepy is that? But of course, by the time the family realized how sinister Aya actually was, it was way too late. If you want to know how this story ends, then make sure you check out the new thriller Afraid from Blumhouse and Sony Pictures. In movie theaters, August 30th.
You'll never trust AI again.
The history.
That's literally in like 2 days. Should we go? I said I check that out, man. That's that freaking AI movie. We could be learning out here, man. That's why I say when AI, when that be popping up on my phone, it be annoying. I be like declining it because I don't even want that on my phone because I don't want them that to have too much information on me, man. It's already in all the social medias and stuff, man. They be trying to promote it, trying to push it. I'm just like, I'm good on that. I don't need AI like that. That definitely sounds like an interesting movie I need to check out, though.
Of the Beldam and why she does what she does. Part 2. So in part 1, we established that the Beldam was once a woman who lived in the Pink Palace apartments over 150 years ago. And we know this because Coraline is based in Ashland, Oregon, and the town of Ashland was settled on January the 12th, 1852. It is believed that the Beldam was one of the settlers of Ashland and that she was the first owner of the Pink Palace apartments. It is also believed that she was a respected seamstress of the town of Ashland and that she had a garden made in her honor. And this would explain the striking similarities between the Beldam's face and the shape of the garden in the real world. And we know that the Beldam was most likely a seamstress when she lived in Ashland because of how good she is at sewing. In fact, the entire opening scene of Coraline is dedicated to the Beldam's ability to sew. Then, sometime in the 1850s, the Beldam stumbled upon the well and stepped into this fairy circle. And this is the same fairy circle that Coraline steps into at the start of the movie. And according to mythical scripture, a fairy circle resembles a magical portal to another world. The Beldam then fell down the well and discovered the other world. And we know by this point she was an evil woman because she murdered her own mother. It's confirmed in the book that she buried her own mother alive and would push her mother back into the grave every time she would try to escape. After the Beldam had fallen through the well, she discovered this whole new world that was full of magic. But the world had a dark, evil twist. The only way to keep the magic alive in that world was by giving up a soul. But because she was the only one living in the Pink Palace apartments at the time, she had to give up her own soul. But the Beldam's soul could only keep the magic alive for so long. And with the magic dying, so did the Beldam. She began to deteriorate and age. This is the Beldam at her most true form. This is why, at the end of the movie, when Coraline refuses to give up her eyes to the Beldam, which are the windows to the soul, her skin deteriorates and starts to look like a skeleton. Because in real time, in the real world, the Beldam is realistically over 150 years old and should be well dead by now. So in between the 1850s and 1921, when the first child moved into that house, the Beldam deteriorated, she lost a lot of magic, and therefore she had to feed off the soul of that kid to keep her world alive. And we know the year was 1921 because in Miss Spink and Miss Forcible's flat in the movie, there are dates upon each of the taffy bowls. And each date is when each kid went missing. And it's believed that the dates on top of the taffy bowls are in the same order as the deaths of the ghost children. So in the year 1921, the Beldam killed this girl here with the white brim hat. Then 15 years later, in 1936, a new family moved into the Pink Palace apartments and the Beldam killed this boy right here. And then the Beldam's final victim was in 1960 when she killed Wybie's grandma's twin sister. This is the photo that Wybie shows Coraline at the end of the movie of his grandma and her twin sister at the Pink Palace in the year 1960. And then almost 50 years later, Wybie's grandma becomes the landlord of the Pink Palace apartments and protects Wybie from the Beldam at all costs.
This girl got cut into two.
I knew it was based off a true story like that.
On
Folklore.
January 19th, 1996, the mutilated remains of Diao Aguin, who disappeared 9 days prior, were found across multiple locations in China. Her body had been dismembered into over 2,000 pieces. The case remains unsolved and it's one of the most notorious crimes in Chinese history. On January 10th, 1996 in the evening, Diao and her college roommate were punished for the illegal use of an electric appliance. After a conflict with the dormitory management, she left the building and did not return. Diao was last seen alive wearing a red coat with a black lining. She was reported missing, but her family was not notified by the authorities until January 19th. The discovery of Diao's remains in the winter of January 19th was first reported by a sanitary worker. Initially, he thought it was pork, so he brought it home for food. And while preparing the meat for himself, 3 human fingers were found in it. The worker then reported the discovery to the police, and they confirmed they were human fingers. Human remains in plastic-wrapped packages were eventually discovered across 8 locations around the university, including at a stadium, entrance gate, hospital, and along roadsides. The police later confirmed that the scattered remains were of Diao's and informed her father to visit Beijing. Between January 20th and 30th, Diao's head and clothes were found. More than 2,000 human remains were recovered. Diao's head and internal organs were boiled for several days. Crucial organs including the heart, liver, and spleen were never found. The forensics team was only able to identify the remains as belonging to a female through the analysis of body hair and muscle tissue. Relatives of Diao were able to identify her through a mole on her right cheek. A senior officer involved in the case described the killing as really cruel, which in my opinion is a nice way to put it. The officer also added that the pieces of flesh were dissected with high precision, only achieved by an individual with great understanding of anatomy. Police concluded that the murderer must have been a professional butcher or surgeon. Teachers and students then became the subject of investigation. 2 suspect profiles were brought up, including a single physical fit middle-aged male.
However, the university department could not find any individuals that matched the characteristics of the profile. A major investigation was launched in the university and the areas around, but no major clues of the crime were found and the case failed to make any progress. In 2016, Nanjing police told the family of Diao that the case is still under investigation. Okay, so let's talk about this case for a second. If the killer was never found and he had the skill to dissect somebody into 2,000 pieces and never get caught with it, don't you think he might be a serial killer? And if he was, how many more people do you think he murdered after Diao? The dedication and skill, and honestly the obsession to cut somebody into 2,000 pieces and not get caught with it is crazy. This person could be walking around the streets of China today doing the same things to other people that he did to Diao. The thought of that is absolutely disturbing.
You didn't know have a dark history in part 1.
Okay.
Nestle, the chocolatier of horror. The Willy Wonka of the real world. Most people know Nestle for producing candies like Kit Kat and the Crunch Bar. But their history, unlike the products they sell, is anything but sweet. In the 1970s, Nestle began an aggressive marketing campaign in several underdeveloped countries in an attempt to promote their baby formula and increase profits. The problem was, their marketing tactics were completely unethical. They hired fake nurses and were handing out free samples in hospitals, all the while trying to convince local mothers that their formula was healthier than the free and natural breast milk they already had. And it worked. Mothers began using the formula. And then, when their milk dried up from a lack of use, they had no choice but to use the formula. A formula that, when mixed with the unclean drinking waters these communities had available to them, would become nothing short of deadly. At its peak, their formula is estimated to have caused more than 200,000 infants a year to lose their lives, and more than 10 million to date. The incident caused massive protests, and you might be thinking, surely since they still exist, they must have learned their lesson and changed their ways, right? Well, I'm afraid the answer is no. No, they did not. Comment if you want me to continue this series, and if this has changed your perspective towards Nestle, and follow for more.
Let's talk about this.
Definitely changed my perspective.
A TikToker named Samuel said he was walking through a parking lot when a random man suddenly called his name. Whoever made the packaging for bacon needs to be fired. Because why is there no like Ziploc or anything on these packages? Who designed it? When I find you, I'm going to steal your dog. I'm going to give you the worst life you can ever have. I hate you. He looked at the guy and got closer to see if he knew him. But he had no idea who he was. And he wondered, how did the guy even know his name? That's when things started to turn weird. The man asked him for $1 and said he knew that he had one on him right now. I don't know how he knew that, but I would have told him to mind your business. Stop pocket watching. Hey, I got a question. Do y'all like chocolate milk or strawberry milk? Comment down below. Samuel said at this point his heart was beating out of his chest. He told the man, yeah, I have $1. You can have it. The man then snatched the $1 out of his hand and asked him if he wanted to see something. The man lifted up the back of his shirt, showed Samuel his tail. He then got on all fours, like an animal, you know, a dog, a lizard, and crawled away. Now look, man, I know this all sounds crazy, right? But as soon as Samuel had that interaction, he went straight to his car, recorded a TikTok video, uploaded the TikTok video.
Okay, bro, so the weirdest thing just happened to me.
Try this baby right here. No, that's a good BLT. I checked his page, and he hasn't posted since. That was his last video. If somebody knows Samuel, let me know if he's still alive, because that was his last video posted, and that was in 2022.
Damn. What do you guys think about this Skinwalker
While the world
story?
is focusing on Florida, not many people know that the Sahara Desert is flooding right now. And the pictures are insane. After 6 consecutive years of drought, the Moroccan Sahara was hit with what meteorologists called an extra-tropical storm. And it brought an amount of rain that the region hasn't seen in up to 50 years. And here's the crazy part. This flooding may actually change the course of the region's weather for months and years to come. That's because the air will now retain more moisture, which causes more evaporation and draws in more storms. NASA satellites showed water rushing in to fill the famous Lake Erie, which had been dry for almost 50 years. This is the scare.
That's kind of scary, man, to see how our planet's reacting, bro. It's called the Sahara Desert for a reason, man. And it's flooded now, bro. That's proof right there that we need, bro. That our planet is changing. We gotta do better, man.
Scariest thing that ever happened to America.
Okay, we all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But what I'm about to tell you has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. And a demonic whispering was coming from every single TV in America. Many people believed it was the devil trying to get across some sort of message, but nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, and then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but every single person believed it was the works of the devil.
Could that have just been a glitch in the system? Or something else, man? Eerie spirit trying to, like I said, get a message across? That's obviously an edit right there.
Times when companies dissed others, part 3.
Okay.
In 2001, Coca-Cola announced that they sold 4 more times than Pepsi. So Pepsi, being salty, decided to create this whole ad of a boy going to a vending machine, getting 2 Cokes from the vending machine, just so he can stand on the cans and get a Pepsi. They are honestly ruthless for this. Next, in 2014, Mercedes made a commercial showing how a chicken can keep their head still while their bodies move, saying Mercedes can do the same thing with their car stability. However, the car company Jaguar saw this and decided to make almost the exact same commercial.
Word for word, bar for bar, bro.
But at the end, a Jaguar straight up destroys the chicken. That's cruel.
Scary facts you'll think about at night. Horned lizards squirt blood from their eyes. The Devil's Bible is a real book. If the sun exploded, you would not know about it for 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices.
There is something sinister that's occurred in the heart of Caddo Lake. An 8-year-old girl has completely vanished in or near the lake, which of course has left her family and loved ones completely devastated. This place is nestled within a remote and desolate swamp. Caddo Lake is shrouded in mystery. It's dark trees, murky waters, and there are countless hidden spots that would make it perfect for somebody to disappear. As the search for Anna continues, there has been a startling discovery. There are secrets buried deep within this eerie lake, far more than I think anybody could have imagined. Now, this chilling premise is the basis for the latest suspense and mystery film, produced by M. Night Shyamalan, premiering on Max Thursday, October 10th. Don't miss the stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon as they unravel the terrifying secrets hidden beneath the surface, only on Max.
This is how
Should I check that out?
actually are. Firstly, less than 1% of people can swallow 5 times on a single breath. So hold your breath and just swallow your saliva 5 times. It is very difficult to do. I can do it, but my siblings can't. So 20% of people have a gap in their teeth. I had a really bad tooth gap back in the day, so if anyone makes fun of you for having a tooth gap, just know you are more rare than them. If you're a naturally blonde individual, man or woman, you're actually quite rare in comparison to the rest of the world, because only 2% of people are naturally blonde, so pretty cool. Here are some new animals that were discovered in 2022. Only 42% of the earth has been discovered, so it's no surprise that new animals keep spawning. So let's see. The first known fox dog has just been discovered in Brazil after being hit by a car. I beg your pardon, but
What?
it did survive. That is one gangster-ass dog. I would definitely adopt this creature. If it doesn't eat cats, because I don't want Ash getting clapped. Speaking of cats, in Australia, they found a new type of cat shark. What is a cat shark? And they called it a demon cat shark because apparently it looks like a demon. Yeah, I kind of see it. I don't know what that is, but staying far away from that. And lastly, a new flying cockroach was discovered in the Philippines. And apparently it's so fast that you can't even catch it.
Whoa. You still freaking learning new animals up to this year, bro? Makes you think, man. What else have we discovered? Earth is a big place, especially under the sea. We don't know what's lurking in there.
Money facts that will blow your mind. Content creators on OnlyFans made more money than all of the NBA players combined. Karenikov has made more in 3 years than Klay Thompson has in his recent 3-year NBA contract. If you've been subscribed to Netflix since 2007, you've paid them almost $2,000. If you had instead invested that $2,000 into Netflix back then, you would have over $350,000 today. Paul Walker secretly bought a $9,000 engagement ring for an Iraq veteran that he overheard in a jewelry store telling his soon-to-be wife that he wasn't going to be able to afford it. Disney spends $50 million a year on fireworks. That's over $130,000 a night. Amazon will lose over $1 billion a year if it went 1 second slower. These are the average retirement savings in the United States by age group. The average for under 35 is $50,000. Average by the time you're 65 is over $600,000. The New York Stock Exchange is owned by a company named Intercontinental Exchange, which has its stock listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
This is why you should.
I'm sorry, it's just that freaking OnlyFans versus NBA salaries, man, it's getting to me, bro. That many people are subbing up to OnlyFans where they're making more than NBA players. Damn, that's a shame, bro. I wouldn't even think something like that's possible, man. They making meals, bro, a month? Whew. What does the world come to, Seekies?
To be scared of Ouija boards. A former Reddit user said that he used a Ouija board with results and let something into his home. He said that he has also been physically assaulted by this entity. He said that it started out with a feeling that he was being watched. Doors closing and footsteps on the hardwood floor when he was home alone. All of this slowly progressed into being kept awake by something shaking the bed and pulling off the covers. He said that sometimes he even heard whispers of his name. The board would disappear for days on end and then show up in places that he never even put it. He became obsessed with it. Things got even worse though. He said that he began to see a black mass in the corner of the room and the silhouette of a man watching him from the doorway. One night, the paranormal activity escalated into a full-blown attack. He said that he had his hair pulled, fingers pricked, and that he was choked while being held down in bed. During the attack, he claims that this thing whispered into his ear in what could have only been Latin. After this event, he finally decided to have his house blessed, and fortunately, this entity hasn't shown back up. He said that he will never again play with one of those boards.
These are the top 5
Can
most
never
disturbing
do.
entities from the Home Safety Hotline DLC. At number 5, we have the False Caroler. These are basically big humanoid creatures with feathers. They approach your front door after dark and start this weird, twisted singing. They do this so they can lure you out, take you away, and feed you to their young. At number 4, we have Lucy. If it's hailing outside, watch out because Lucy can slip into your home. Once inside, she tries to look for humans and pets to steal their warmth. At number 3, we have the Hunt. This is not a snowstorm, it's fungus. What looks like snow here is actually spores. And those spores turn people into whites, basically coughing zombies that die after 48 hours. At number 2, we have Hans. Hans is a cloth creature that occupies homes. And once it does, it changes the personalities of the people that live there, making them more hazardous and wild. And at number 1, is Perchta. If you have a messy home, there's a chance that Perchta could come visit. And if she finds you there, she literally turns you into a scarecrow, killing you instantly.
3 disturbing facts about your favorite cartoons. Number 3. Peter Pan is actually the angel of death. He would take kids to Neverland, which represented the afterlife. That's why none of the kids there get older, because they're already dead. Number 2. In Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin has severe schizophrenia, and all the other characters represent his mental disorder. Tigger, ADHD, Eeyore, depression, Piglet, anxiety. Bloody sad. And number 1, Pokemon was never real. In episode 1, Ash Ketchum balls off his bike and lands directly on his head, which then puts him into a coma. And it's led to believe that his entire journey after that is all in his head. Day officially ruined. Cheers, legends.
I thought he had to catch them all though, bro. What the
weirdest
heck?
facts about Australia you didn't know. Kangaroos have 3 vaginas. Next, Australia has the biggest cattle farm in the world. And it is bigger than the whole country of Israel in size. Moving on, there's around 10,000 beaches in Australia, but less than 1,000 of them can be visited at any time. And did you know around 80% of all plants and animals are unique to Australia, meaning you can find them anywhere else in the world.
Wow. I need to go to Australia, bro. That's on the bucket list, man. But I heard they got some big spiders. I know we don't do that, though. Right, they're huge, man, over Australia. That's it.
The worst times to be alive in history, part 1.
536 AD. In 536 AD, most of the world went dark for up to 18 months, as a mysterious fog ruled over Europe, the Middle East, and a part of Asia. The fog blocked the sun during the day, causing temperatures to drop, crops to fail, and people to die. Follow for the next time.
You are going to want to keep the light on for these spooky facts from history. Prince Anastasia and her sisters were actually very close to Rasputin. They were taught to treat him as their friend and confidant, and when they died, it was revealed that they each wore amulets with his picture inside. Mary I of England wanted a child so badly, she actually had a phantom pregnancy. Her abdomen swelled, she stopped menstruating, and she even vomited in the mornings. But no child came. The most chilling part, Mary thought it was God punishing her for tolerating heretics. The incident may very well have led to her brutal punishments of non-Catholics, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary. In the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, France, a lone woman started dancing in the streets. But soon enough, people joined her, and they couldn't stop. The so-called dancing plague lasted for months, was maybe even fatal, and its reasons are still unknown today. In Brazil one year, a 2-year-old boy died from pneumonia. The family was shocked when he sat upright at the funeral and asked for a glass of water. Then suddenly, he collapsed again, leaving the coroner to proclaim him dead once more.
What? Twice, man? He woke up, asked for some water, and then gone again? That is chilling, bro.
Spookiest facts that will keep you up at night. There's over 100 known serial killers that haven't been caught. The world's largest pyramid is not in Egypt, but in Mexico. 12% of people dream without any color imagery. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap.
Not the scariest thing in the ocean. Close, but not the scariest thing in the ocean. Not even the Oreo equalizer. Nah, the last animal I would want to see in the ocean. Bro, let me tell you about this squid. Now, at 5 feet, 100 pounds, a Humboldt ain't even that big now. What makes the satanic cephalopod such a menace is they can hunt in packs of not tens, not hundreds, but up to and over 1,000. Yeah, that's 3 zeros like a Tony Snell stat line. They're called the Red Devil because they can rapidly flash the color red, and they use these flashes to communicate. It's like Morse code, but for crippling calamari. We don't know exactly how it works, but it's believed if a squid grabs something and suddenly starts pulsing red, it could be telling every squid in the area that it's free eats out here. By the way, most deep sea animals can't even see the color red. They really color coordinate with the worst side of the spectrum. Just imagine getting hunted by that. Diablo Rojo has a beak that can slice flesh, apparently crack bone, and we know they'll actively bring that smoke to humans. There's more than a couple stories of divers getting jumped by squid and nearly getting pulled into the abyss. There's also reports of them attempting to rip the masks off divers. Like, too many times for it to just be a coincidence. And see, the thing is, an orca's never offed a person in the wild, and a shark biting you is like me biting a wing and tasting cauliflower. It's an unfortunate occurrence, except the wing can't scream. There's no doubt in my mind, a pack of predatory squid would off a person. They're not even safe from themselves. They are highly cannibalistic. Like, it's a legit part of their diet. It's a different type of friendly fire. If they see a sick or injured member of their own shoal, they will eat it alive. Fun fact, if you're fishing and catch a Humboldt, you really catch 4. The one you got and the 3 others tearing it apart while you pull it up. They've also been known to destroy camera equipment and gear because aggression and violence is how they respond to the things they don't understand. Worst part is, you can get jumped by a squid, escape, and if you surface too fast, you can still end up part of the past. The ocean's so unserious. The more you know.
Blood-curdling facts that you
Stay
wish
away
you
from
never
squid.
knew. Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Xiao Bao who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
How the hell did he even track him down? I'm telling you, bro, you gotta be careful even on the games nowadays, bro. People take things too seriously. They will hunt you down.
Scary videos from China. In the country, there are many secret prisons known as Black Jails. One day, a journalist was given the address of one of these, and this is what she found. The woman asks the reporter if she's here to save her, but the guards quickly lock the door. The woman in the video had been taken here off the record. This video shows a man on death row saying his final goodbyes. The man's name is Li Shiyan. He begs his mother not to cry. Li also bows down as a sign of respect, before being led away to meet his fate. This is a forgotten underground village. It's located in Gansu province. The people here have no food, water, or electricity. Some work in dangerous conditions in the local mine, earning just 30 cents per day. The people are very poor and neglected.
What makes Art the Clown so
30
terrifying is
cents?
that even he doesn't know how powerful
Nah.
he is. When the first Terrifier came out, Art was clearly just your average psychopath who likes to dress up as a clown. But when Terrifier 2 came out, that's when everything changed. Not only for, the plot or the world building, but specifically for Art. Director Damon Leone admitted in an interview that when Art came back to life in the beginning of the second movie, even he was surprised, which sets an entirely different tone for the movie. When the little girl came out of nowhere, when he kind of opened up a gate to hell, instead of being scared, the guy was laughing. Director Damon Leone admitted that he knows how this whole Terrifier saga is going to end, and everything was truly set in motion in Terrifier 2, which is when Leone really knew what he wanted to do with the character Art the Clown. Because every appearance of the clown prior to that wasn't necessarily half-baked, but even Leone admits that Art the Clown didn't necessarily come at him all at once, and it took him a while to truly figure out who that character was. However, with that said, I don't think we know exactly what Art the Clown is truly capable of. Admittedly, I have yet to see Terrifier 3, but from what I have seen online, this is far from the last time we will get to see this dude on screen. And given how Terrifier 2 ends, I imagine Art's true ending for this franchise is going to be one of the most historical events in horror movie history. God, I love these movies.
People who went missing and were found alive years later. In 2011, 2 fishermen from Kiribati were lost at sea for 33 days before they landed on the Marshall Islands, and when they arrived, locals took them to meet the only person on the island who spoke their language. Well, the fishermen then discovered that the only person who spoke the language was one of the fisherman's uncles who went missing 50 years earlier, who also got lost at sea. He was thought to be dead, but it turned out the uncle was perfectly fine and had a whole new life. Next, in 1997, a family in China had their young son abducted outside their home. And when an official search couldn't find their son, the father started his own search. So for the next 2 decades, he would travel all over China on motorbikes with flags of his son and would hand out flyers everywhere. And 24 years after he spent all of his life savings, his son was finally found. Props to that father.
Friendly reminder, if you think the government won't, they absolutely
That's a
will.
blessing.
Remember that time the CIA tried to weaponize otters? It went a lot better than the dolphins, but that's only because the otters didn't off themselves. Basically, otters are a lot smarter than they get credit for. They're part of the class of animals that can use tools, and they might have one up on dolphins in that department. Add the fact that they're the only mammal that can take the ocean without blubber, can be trained by humans, and it's basically a brainy, beachside honey badger with all the audacity, but seasoned with pretty privilege. Someone in the CIA saw this aggressive water war weasel and said, give him a fedora, he can do a lot for you. Let's make otter agents. Which led to the Otter Dossier. Also, apparently whatever they were doing had something to do with Project MK Ultra. If you think they won. Anyway, here's some stuff you can find in the dossier. They found otters can open zippers and climb ladders. Seemed a little too excited about them being able to carry things and throw objects with their mouth. Otters can chew through a zinc sheet. I don't know how they found that. At one point they say they become devoted to humans, which can lead to their destruction. Whose destruction exactly? They made sure to mention that because they can dive up to 60 feet and can hold their breath longer than 5 minutes, they can enter and leave boats without being seen. There's also a do's and don'ts section, and at the very top of the list they say, never take food from an otter or suffer severe mauling. Somewhere the reason for that rule is sitting in a room with PTSD and missing fingers. There's also some cute stuff, like otters being ticklish and them using that to make them listen. There's also a blurb about taking care of babies, specifically their diarrhea. Once again, the cost of that knowledge was somebody's innocence. Anyway, it's pretty interesting. You should probably check it out on your own. But yeah, the CIA was definitely plotting something. And it involved weapons of otter destruction.
Imagine living with someone that you know is trying to end your life. This hidden camera captures a moment this woman puts bleach inside her husband's coffee maker multiple times a day. This is Robbie Johnson, and he began setting up cameras all around his house when he started to notice that his coffee was tasting a little off. He wasn't really expecting to catch anything, but when he looked back at the footage, he was shocked. His wife Melody is seen pouring a substance inside his coffee maker every single day before he brewed the coffee. Robbie got testing strips, and each time it tested positive for chlorine. At this time, Robbie and Melody were in the process of a divorce, but they were still living together. Robbie pretended to drink his coffee every morning and continued to gather evidence so that he can go to police. But when he showed police all this footage, they said that they couldn't see exactly what Melody was pouring into the coffee maker, so he couldn't prove it. So Robbie had to set up even more cameras around the house with different angles so that he can prove that Melody was was, in fact, poisoning him. Melody was charged with attempted murder, and I bet this guy will never let anyone else make him a coffee again.
That would.
Is not something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman that is haunting AI pictures, sees the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images? If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics even that aren't consistent. Yet nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast. Katy Perry is coming under fire because her upcoming album, it features Dr. Luke. But a lot of people don't know that Katy Perry is allegedly trapped by Dr. Luke. Apparently, there is a lot going on behind the scenes that many people are not aware of. Little history here. Katy Perry was dropped by Columbia Records back in 2006. 2007, she signed with Capitol Records in 2007 at the age of 22. Part of that deal was that she was going to sign a 6-album production deal with Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke ended up doing her first 2 albums. He did One of the Boys, he did Teenage Dream, and they were massively successful albums, and he began to work on Prism. So Prism came out, and it was extremely successful, and allegedly it's around this time that Luke's services as a producer were bought out by Sony, but he included a clause that he was still going to be able to honor and finish out his 6-album deal with Katy Perry. And it was also around this time that Kesha came forward with the accusations against Dr. Luke. Then came this leak. Allegedly, this is a text exchange between Kesha and Lady Gaga around the time of the accusations, which also alleged that Dr. Luke had assaulted Katy Perry and she was stuck with him. So then we got the release of Witness, which did not feature Dr. Luke at all. And people sort of thought that she would never work with him again. But she had only fulfilled 3 of the 6 contracted albums. Legal predicament here is that Katy Perry signed her deal at 22 and she is now 39, and if she wants to continue having a career in music, she is legally bound to finish out the remaining 3 albums.
Is that why, like I said, I don't remember, didn't we hear like a couple of months ago how like she showed Katy Perry, she showed her old catalog or something for like a ridiculous amount of money, but now I guess she's trying to get back into the music scene, but she's stuck with that, I guess, producer, man. She has to make 3 more with him. See, because, man, it goes to show you gotta watch. When you sign a contract, you gotta read the fine print, because you never know who you're gonna get stuck with. Gotta be fully prepared, man, for those consequences. That's crazy that she's stuck with that producer, Luke. Ooh. The hell is that? Where's the sky? Headache.
I'm the bad guy.
Damn. Warhol. Ooh. Won't want to get bit by one of those. That's common
You're not
knowledge.
gonna believe what this guy accidentally caught on camera. Watch carefully.
Going so fast. You can barely see.
Did y'all see that? It's a pale humanoid figure lurking in the background. Probably encountered like Slender Man or something. Let me know what you guys think this is in the comments below.
So you
I need out the guy's theories.
believed to be human remains near a neighborhood, and your first thought is to take those human remains to Goodwill. That's what happened in Anderson, South Carolina, yesterday, June the 23rd, 2024. It is reported that an individual stumbled across what is believed to be human remains in a gravel lot located in or near a high-end subdivision called Grayland in Anderson, South Carolina. And instead of calling law enforcement, this individual takes those human remains to Goodwill, who then calls law enforcement.
Why?
Law enforcement does believe these remains to be human. They are searching a wooded area that is said to be in a new development in this subdivision, Grayland, in Anderson, South Carolina. They have also called in an anthropologist from Spartanburg County who is assisting in the case, and the remains have been sent to the FBI for DNA identification. As more information becomes available, I'll share it here, so go ahead and hit the follow button if you are not already following. There are 6 different people listed in NamUs who are missing from the Anderson, South Carolina area. I'm not going to list those individuals here because I don't want it to look like I'm speculating that these remains could be one of those individuals. You can do your own research on that.
Nasty.
That's insane. You can find some human remains and their first thought is to take it to Goodwill, man. That goes to show you how people, they don't be using their minds sometimes. See something like that, man, you just call the police, bro. You don't take it in a Goodwill. What the hell are they supposed to do with it? They're just gonna be just as confused and disgusted by it as you. People down there, you serious?
Fast food facts you didn't want to know. There's most likely other people's poop in your fast food drinks.
What?
Scientists tested samples from Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC and discovered that most of the drinks had traces of fecal coli in them. That's poop particles. Although regulation says that your drink should have 0% of poop, sample from different KFCs and Burger Kings had significant amounts. That poses a serious threat to diners. Fountain machines were tested too, and they had about 11% of E. coli. Some restaurants rarely clean their ice machine, and some restaurant workers that handle your ice don't wash their hands. Hope you have fun drinking poop. Like this video if you want a part 2.
I ain't drinking no more from all those restaurants listed. Fast food, make your drink at home.
In 2014, a man named Martin took this picture of his daughter in Japan. It wasn't until later that he discovered an eerie thing about this photo. When the photo was taken, there was no man standing behind his daughter, yet it appears that there is. Again, if you look closely, you can see a man standing directly behind his daughter.
Ooh.
People believe that this is a ghost of a samurai or a World War II soldier. He just happened to catch it on camera while trying to take this cute and innocent photo of his daughter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you believe that this is real?
First games you should never play. Part 14, the Dry Bones game. This game could get you anything you could dream of, but you're putting yourself at risk for losing your mind, being killed, or worse. To prepare, close all the doors and windows in your house, and then turn off all the lights. Begin at exactly 12:01. Go into your bathroom and look into the mirror. Make sure everything is silent. If you hear anything, he is already there. Think of something you want. This will be your prize if you win. Strike a match and wait for it to burn out on its own. If it lasts more than 15 seconds, you may continue. Lie down on the floor and recite these words. I am aware of your presence and I welcome you into my home. Go into the biggest room in your house and wait. To know that the game is officially started, you will hear a moan. If you hear anything else, abort. Once you hear this, run to your hiding spot and stay there, but remain completely silent. Remain in this place until 3 a.m. Once this time comes, go back to the biggest room in your house and say thank you for playing, but you must leave now. You are no longer welcome. If you did this right, you will hear another groan signifying that you won, and your prize will be at the door.
What's good? Today we continue our series going over the most evil children to ever exist. And the ones I got for you today are, these kids need help.
Okay.
First up on the list, we have Robert Thompson and John Venables. These two kids right here, wow. In the winter of 1993, these two kids became the youngest convicted murderers in the history of England. On February 12, 1993, these two young boys abducted young James Bulger, a 2-year-old, at a shopping mall. And here's the picture of them walking away with the 2-year-old. They then took the boy to a railroad track where they would beat him senseless with an iron bar. The last one we're going to be talking about today is Lionel Tate. On July 20th, 1999, Lionel Tate's mother was babysitting a 6-year-old girl. Lionel's mother eventually went upstairs to go watch TV and left the young girl downstairs with Lionel, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. Lionel continuously stepped on the girl's head and then went upstairs and tried to say it was a wrestling accident.
Nah. They that young? This goes to show you even back then, man, how the world was a dark place.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1.
Ooh. The hell?
Creepiest home.
You saw how the way they was at? Like, nah, that's why they were aware they surrounded us, because that guy was asking some weird questions. Just trying to lurk around in the background. Can't even go out and have a good time no more without, you always have to be constantly aware. Because weirdos out like that exist.
Camera.
It's eerie. How the hell he get in the house? That's the real question we need to be asking.
The new horror movie Smile 2 just came out. And if you remember in 2022, the movie Smile went so viral that literally everyone was talking about it. So I really hope that the sequel will be good because we've been waiting. But I haven't seen the trailer yet, so let's watch it together.
Alright.
Hello?
You back.
Sky! What? No, no! No, go away from me! What? What is it? Go away from me!
Louis?
Oh, crap. Damn.
Something really crazy is happening to me. I keep seeing this face everywhere.
You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
Stop smiling at me!
Oh, crap, he's back. Oh, damn.
That's a pretty cool shirt you got. Want me to sign it?
This is one of the most disgusting and evil cases I've ever heard. In February of 2013 in the Bronx, New York, a man was walking his dog at around 4 a.m. when his dog began to sniff around and led the man to a pile of trash bags that were left on the curb. As the man got closer, he realized that there was an awful smell coming from the bags that were sitting on the curb. So he decided to investigate, and lo and behold, he discovered that the bags were full of dismembered body parts. The man then decided to call the police, and after further investigation, the police found multiple different bags full of more dismembered body parts scattered across the city. It would then be discovered that the dismembered body parts would belong to a 45-year-old at-home caregiver by the name of Tanya Bird. Her body parts were placed in multiple heavy-duty trash bags containing everything from her torso to her shoulders to even her head. But guys, if only that was the worst part. You see, police then moved on to contact Tanya's son, Basim McLean, in which he responded that he believed that his mom's abusive ex-boyfriend was the one behind the killing of his mother. But little did the police know that that was not the case. As part of the investigation, police decided to go through Basim McLean's phone to see if he had any connection with his mom's murder. And lo and behold, they discovered a picture of McLean smiling in a selfie while holding his mom's decapitated head in his left hand. Yes, this is the picture of McLean holding his mom's decapitated head like it's a trophy. And of course it's blurred because we're not going to show the actual picture on here. After this, though, he was actually sentenced to 25 years in prison. But wait, it gets crazier. You see, years prior, before he was arrested, Basim McLean was actually married to a woman named Vera McLean, in which him and her had a 4-year-old son together. And about a year into McLean's prison sentence, he gets a call while in jail that his ex-wife, Vera McLean, is being charged with murder after beating their 4-year-old son to death with a broomstick. She was then sentenced to 17 years in prison. So one of them killed their mother, dismembered her body, and then flaunted her head in a selfie, and the other one beat their son to death with a broomstick. That's a pretty twisted couple, if you ask me.
Like madness just went through that whole freaking family line. So the son.
Have you guys heard about the disturbing murder of the 3 Girl Scouts? This is the unsolved murder case of 9-year-old Michelle Gus, 10-year-old Doris Milner, and 8-year-old Lori Farmer. On June 12, 1977, 140 Girl Scouts ages 8 to 18 went to Camp Scott in Oklahoma for 2 weeks. Camp Scott was super popular in the town, but in 1977, nobody was prepared for what was going to happen. The very first night that the girls went to sleep in their tents, Lori, Michelle, and Doris slept together in tent 8. The next morning at 6 a.m., a counselor found the lifeless bodies of the 3 young girls a short distance from their tent. All 3 girls had been sexually assaulted and badly beaten. Lori and Michelle had been bludgeoned while Doris was strangled to death. Now get this, 2 months before the trip, a training session was held at Camp Scott and something very alarming happened. A counselor's cabin was ransacked and a disturbing note was found in an empty box of donuts. The note said, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls in tent 1. Even though this note was strange and upsetting, the camp administrators dismissed the entire thing as a prank. The night that the 3 girls were murdered, a camp counselor remembered hearing strange moaning, so she got up and looked around but didn't find anything unusual. The main suspect was an escaped convict that police were desperately looking for, and his name is Gene Leroy Hart. He had been convicted of kidnapping and sexually assaulting 2 pregnant women in the past. Gene was captured 10 months later, but regardless of all the evidence found against him, he was not found guilty by the jury. When Gene was sent back to prison for his original crime, he collapsed and died from a heart attack just 2 months later. A chilling statement was made by Doris's 5-year-old little sister just minutes before she left to the camp. Doris's little sister asked their mom, "Mommy, what happens when people die?" And their mom had tried to explain what happens after death, and that's when the little sister responded with, "Yeah, but everyone's gonna die tomorrow." I don't know about you guys, but that is super creepy. These murders remain some of the state's most disturbing unsolved cases.
And those camping trips, I remember there was like a little. I think I remember when I was a kid how our school used to go on those camping trip as well, but I wasn't a fan of them. I was always opted out. I said, "Nah, they ain't for me. I just don't trust them." Even as a kid, I wasn't trusting nobody. It's a tragic case, man.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in this house in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and it's been stated that this is the largest private residence in New York. While Epstein was alive, he was visited at this house by a number of famous politicians and celebrities, including infamously Prince Andrew, who claimed nothing happened while he was there. I think the artwork on the house is a little eerie, to say the least, and I'm sure it's symbolic in its own way. Now, multiple bodyguards and people have gone on the record and said that inside of Epstein's house, there was a brain room, or a room filled floor to ceiling with security monitors. This would mean that every single inch of Jeffrey Epstein's house was being videotaped or photographed at every moment. And still, to this day, there are tons of cameras on the exterior. I myself was a little freaked out after standing in front of this house, knowing that I was just captured on like 5 different angles. But this would mean that all of the trafficking, the assaults against minors that happened in this house, all of that was caught on camera. And that's true, it was, because Epstein was running a blackmail operation. It's too much to get into now, but if you want to hear me expose the true story, you can listen to the first episode of my show, The Conspiracy Files, on all platforms.
CIA, we have superhuman abilities. Watch this.
So the CIA released a document saying the universe is a hologram.
They did.
And basically the document teaches you how to access superhuman abilities, as well as use your consciousness to shift your reality. I'm breaking down this document section by section, and this is part 4. This section is pretty short, but very interesting because it talks about the use of the hemisync. What they noticed is by putting people through the hemisync system, they could have people access advanced states of meditation, maybe some states that would take the average meditator 20 years to reach, and they could have them reach it pretty much in 10 to 15 minutes. And these states would be where the left and right brain come into complete coherence, so much so that it seems like the whole body and the brain and heart come into coherence as well. which for anyone who's familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, he talks a lot about the power of brain and heart coherence. And for those who don't know, hemi-syncing is when you have a different frequency playing in each ear, both between 4 and 7 hertz. And based on what they're saying here, this accelerates your meditative experience and can help you astral travel or astral project much quicker.
Here's some things I just learned today. The organizers of Wimbledon started paying $2 million a year for pandemic insurance in 2003. They paid $34 million over 17 years until the big one happened in 2020, and when Wimbledon got canceled, they collected $141 million. In December of 2020, GoDaddy deceived their employees by indicating that they had received a $650 bonus when in actuality it was a phishing test, and then they mandated social engineering and training instead. This led to them giving an apology without actually any bonuses given, which, gosh, December 2020? Yikes. An 18-year-old in 2015 had found out he was on a missing children database when applying for college, which led him to uncover that his father had abducted him from his mother at the age of 5. When a teenage boy started having a seizure while playing video games, his online friend, who was over 5,000 miles away, contacted emergency services in his area and saved his life.
What in the paranormal was captured in Appalachia? A brother and sister were playing on their farm when the brother called out to the father and told him about the sister's friend. When the father looked up, he was completely terrified. As a matter of fact, take a look at this video.
Hey, Dad, look at Carly!
Watch. Who is she with?
Carly!
What is that?
Could be an edit.
What the hell was that?
It did not look human.
And where did it go? I screen capped it and zoomed in on it as best as I can. What does that look like to you? Here's an even closer look at it. I can't make out what that is. It appears to have legs and very long arms and a very hairy face. Kind of resembling this right here. After seeing this video, if this was my property, I would say it's safe to say it's time to sell and time to move. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think that is. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
The shit that I just learned on this app might be the craziest thing ever. And it also might be evidence that we're living in a simulation. Mind you, what I'm about to tell you, I've known about it my whole entire life. And most likely you have too. Go back in your mind and think of the first letter S that you learned how to draw. Not write. The first S that you learned how to draw. 3 lines on top, 3 lines on bottom. Yep. Triangle, triangle, blah, blah, blah. Matter of fact, look at this shit. You remember this S. Because everybody in any school, anywhere, knows this S. When I was in school, they taught us how to draw this S. When my kids was in school, they taught them how to draw that S. They're saying that allegedly, supposedly, that S is the logo for the company that runs the simulation here. You didn't hear what I just said, right? This S right here is the logo of the company that runs this simulation here. Now, of course, I don't know how true this is, but think about this. How does everybody know about this S right here? Who made this S right here? And it's real convenient that this is the first graffiti piece that we learned how to draw when we were younger. Why did they teach us this? Why is that the easiest piece to draw? You tell me. I'm out.
History has just been made today in Africa. After 14 years of construction and $5 billion, the continent's largest hydropower dam has finally had its grand opening in Ethiopia. Standing at 145 meters high and a massive 2 kilometers in length across the Blue Nile, it is now among the top 20 largest dams of its kind in the world. It has been described as a leap into the future because now it's open, it will double Ethiopia's current energy production production capacity. That's enough to power around 5 million homes simultaneously. This is a literal game changer for the country, because as things stand, around 45% of Ethiopia's 130 million people lack electricity. But after today, many homes which have never experienced what it's like to have electricity will do so for the very first time. Just imagine that. But also, this will now open up industrial and manufacturing opportunities as well, and not just for Ethiopia. With surplus power, they can even export this electricity to neighboring countries in East Africa as well. But what do you guys think? Is this dam a W or L?
Somebody gotta explain to me how this happened, y'all. A baby was born pregnant. A baby had a baby inside of him. So when the mother gave birth to her baby, the doctors was like, okay, why is the baby belly so big? So they did an ultrasound on the baby and found out that the baby was pregnant. So they said the chances of this happening is 1 in a million. When a mother is having twins and the twin get trapped inside of the other twin in the belly. But I'm still confused, like, how the fuck that happened? The doctors had to ultimately do surgery on a baby, and they said they pulled limbs, bones, even hair out of the baby. And obviously the baby didn't survive, but this baby that they pulled the baby from survived. So they said the countries this has happened in is India, China, and Israel. I don't know what I would do in this situation. If I had a baby that had a baby in them, I would probably pass the fuck out. This is my first time ever hearing something like this too. Y'all let me know if y'all heard this before. And if I ain't show y'all the picture of this, would y'all believe this shit real? Because I wanna never believe shit like this can happen.
I wouldn't have believed it too until I saw it with my own eyes. So the baby absorbed the twin? Damn. I've heard stories like that, but not like this, man. Where the baby was actually pregnant. A 1 in a million chance that happened. Whoa.
Scary animal story?
Yes.
In 2006, 3 Americans and 2 Africans that were going to this chimp sanctuary. Little did they know is that the 31 chimps that were in this sanctuary had escaped because they were very abusive to these chimps. And when they're going down the road, all of a sudden this ginormous chimp named Bruno, which was the alpha male, came into the middle of the road. He's 6 feet tall and weighs 270 pounds, which is double the amount of a normal chimpanzee. And then the chimp starts running towards his car, punches in the back window, grabs one of the African man's hands, and the gates of the sanctuary were closed. And so the driver, who was African, tried to ram the gate to get through, hit the gate, nothing happened except it disabled the car. And the African driver got out, took off into the woods. Bruno running down the road, gets Melvin, the guy who just got his hand bitten off, bites his foot off. And then Gary just got knocked unconscious, grabs a big stick and starts eating Bruno the ape, like jabs him in the throat, and then Bruno stumbles back and then takes off into the woods.
If I ever found a toad inside of my orange Fanta, I'm definitely crashing out. I'm calling all the YNs in my phone and we finna bump. Because having this nigga singing hello my baby, hello my honey, while I'm trying to quench my thirst, has to get dealt with accordingly. Yeah, fast food has definitely reached its maximum of BS. And I done seen a lot of things. But gang, you put a frog in Cub Juicy Juice. They must have had a swamp inside of the fountain juice machine. Like imagine it being super dark inside the car, you in a rush, and you done gulped a whole soda that's been contaminated with frog sweat. Every day now I'm leaning more and more to not eating fast food. Yeah, we finna go back to the Great Depression where we was cooking everything from scratch. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts on what y'all would have did if y'all found a toad inside of y'all drink in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. And remember, if you want to learn the method on how to blow your social media account up and make passive revenue off of it, just by posting videos, comment down below ATM and I'm sending method in your DMs.
Just learned about the snake's existence and I am extremely disturbed. This is the biggest baby animatronic that's ever existed, and honestly one of the biggest animatronics that has ever existed ever. And it moves super creepy, uncanny valley. Go watch the video at the end if you just want to skip and see that. It was made by ADI Studios, who does a bunch of like movie animatronics and things. This is creepy. Here's how big one of its hands was when it was being constructed. Here's its face skin being hauled in by, what is that, like 6 people? And here's them putting the face skin on. Oh God, this thing is so freaking scary. It was for Baby World Expo in 2010 in Shanghai, China. I was there for like a couple weeks, and I just imagine being the person that has to go shut out the lights at this part at closing time, and just knowing this thing is in the darkness and just huge and just there, and oh my God. Like, this thing has a soul. There's something inside this baby. Here's how big its eyes are in comparison to a person, and like all of the animatronics that are like in its head. Oh God, that's disgusting. Like, imagine Five Nights at Freddy's with this thing, and it's just like chasing you, and it just picks you up and like eats you. That's what I'm thinking. I'm freaking myself out now. Also, it's probably just chilling in a dark warehouse somewhere with a bunch of cobwebs and like dust all over it, and hasn't been touched in years, and it's just sitting in the corner of a pitch dark warehouse. I'm scaring myself again. Watch this video and let me know what you're thinking.
Baby Expo in Shanghai, China. My first time hearing about that. This is nightmare fuel for some people, bro.
Theory goes, parasites are actually demons.
Kinda, yeah.
Check this.
They go into your body and f everything up.
In the Bible, what does it say to release demons? What must you do?
What?
You must pray and fast. Why fast?
There's nothing else coming in your body.
Yeah, so the parasites can't
multiply.
Yeah, now what do parasites do that demons are likely to do too? Parasites, they change your mood. They change your behavior. They make you crave bad food. They make you do bad behavior. What do demons do? The same thing. They change your mentality. They change your mood. They almost change your whole character.
Yeah.
What's the only way to take them out? Like they said in the Bible, pray
yeah.
and fast. I never really understood fasting until now. They literally survive off sugars. If the parasite keeps thriving on it, that's why we're so addicted to that stuff.
Yeah.
Because the parasite is making us want it more. If you look at microscopic images of a parasite, they look like monsters.
Loki.
That's what demons look like.
Iceland is building entire cities out of pure volcanic lava. Why? The answer will shock you. The first method involves drilling directly into underground magma chambers, extracting molten lava and pouring it into building molds to create blocks, beams, and panels with the same strength as concrete, but zero emissions. The second approach channels erupting volcanoes through precisely dug trenches to simultaneously build city foundations while protecting against future eruptions, essentially turning natural disasters into construction opportunities. The most futuristic method deploys heat-resistant robots that scoop up molten lava as printing ink to 3D print entire buildings layer by layer directly on active volcanic fields. Iceland's 2023 volcanic eruptions provided massive amounts of free building material that naturally contains everything found in concrete, proving they have an unlimited supply of construction resources. This completely eliminates the need for cement production, which generates 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions while creating dystopian-looking cities with unique volcanic textures that could become architectural landmarks. The concept transforms volcanic eruptions from destructive disasters into valuable construction events, giving Iceland a sustainable building advantage that no other country can replicate. These lava cities would be naturally insulated, earthquake resistant, and weatherproof while using completely renewable materials that cost nothing except the engineering to harvest them. Could volcanic construction finally solve the climate crisis in the building industry, or is Iceland just planning the world's most metal-looking apocalypse cities?
Finally, no.
Why doesn't everybody use that, I guess, source of building, man? Is it still theoretical? Help save the earth. I'm with it.
What the Phillies Karen said to the dad when she went up to him and stole the ball from him, and what she said to the dad and the kid is so much more worser than anything that I would have expected. And now knowing what she said, I have zero sympathy for this woman. Though the other night in the 6th or 7th inning in the Phillies Marlins game, this dad caught a home run ball and decided to give it to his son until suddenly this Karen came over, grabbed him, and started yelling at him. And after she nagged him for so long, he was so annoyed that he ended up just giving her the ball and told her to go away. But this is where it gets even more worser. Not only did she seemingly seemingly flip off the kid and his dad, where then she got into altercations with other Phillies fans. And last night, a lot of people thought that they had found out who this lady is. They were thinking that it was this lady, Cheryl Richardson Wagner. However, the real Cheryl confirmed that it is not her. And even though the kid ended up getting it bad, I feel bad for this kid because he will be scarred for life after what this woman is yelling at him. As the dad said that after she approached him and grabbed him, that she yelled at the dad and said, "That's my ball. No, you took it from me. You took it from me. That was in my hand." If you were the dad, would you have given her the ball?
You heard the conspiracy theory that Wayfair is trafficking humans?
What? No.
This isn't proven, right? So Wayfair has these weirdly priced items on there. Like there was a safe, a little like small safe, right? And it's named after a person that went missing in Chicago.
What?
So the safe is named like Amelia, right? And it's listed for $150,000. Or a chair named Brooke that's listed for $200,000.
That's crazy.
It's a thing that people have seen on Wayfair for years, but it's just been ignored. No one has done anything about it. I don't know if anyone has bought these items to see what comes in the mail, but it's so weird because it's so common. It happens all the time.
For real?
Yeah, so there have been hundreds of listings like this, and they usually go up right after somebody turns up missing and their family's crying for them and pleading for them to come home. Yeah, it is honestly one of the weirdest things I have ever seen.
I just can't unsee this. Post Malone was doing this performance recently, and he was doing this very similar thing as this very famous singer named Amy Winehouse, and this was actually one of her last performances before passing away. And what many people were saying is that as Amy Winehouse was doing this and now Post Malone is doing it, does this mean that something is about to happen to him? I don't know, guys. You gotta let me know your thoughts on this one.
When too many people wake up in the Matrix, they have no choice but to reset it. A woke person in the Matrix is a dangerous person because you have the ability to tell other NPCs that still asleep that their reality is not real. Their religion, not real. The food you eat, not real. Did you see the new Google VEO3? You should check it out. It's a deep message they're trying to tell us. When so-called chosen people wake up in the Matrix, you're not really chosen. You are just an NPC that happened to wake up and realize that your reality is fake. We are all NPCs. This universe we live in is just a simulation that was created by another alien race or another artificial intelligent life form. When you see your angel numbers, 111, 222, 333, 444, where do you think they coming from? Why do we see these same numbers over and over? That's because our reality is a simulation. Some people call it a message. I call it a code that's being downloaded within our subconscious mind. You ever have deja vu? Where do you think deja vu come from? You ever watch an old DVD that had a scratch on it and it kept repeating the same scene over and over? You ever listen to a CD and it had a scratch on it? It kept playing the same song over and over. If so, that was a message letting you know that our subconscious is trapped in some kind of artificial computer program. Yes, we are all being programmed. Television program, newspaper program, social media program. Shit, even people are starting to program other people. I am not trying to tell people that they are fake and that their reality is fake. It's a real thing because your energy make it real. But I want you to understand that it's getting to a point where we might end up fake. We already live in a simulation. But now we have other people making simulations within a simulation. So when people wake up in this reality, guess what? They're going to go back into another simulation. The reason why they keep telling people that life is nothing but a stage is because there's someone in the back scene writing our scripts, writing our character. Our characters is linked with our zodiac signs. We are born into a reality or a simulation that has everything already figured out, right? Heaven, hell, we live, we die, what to eat, what not to eat, what city and state or country we are born into. These are all scripts or prompts. Someone wrote it out for us. If you ever meet someone and you like them, you say, shit, I like that person's character. When you watch a movie, you might fall in love with the character. If you read a book, you fall in love with a character. Well, our reality is a simulation. Do you like your character? Your zodiac sign? We are not chosen. We are just NPCs that woke up in the Matrix. If you want to know more about these topics,
y'all, the Matrix is really breaking down, y'all. I think this red sun has something to do with it because this lady notices this plane. This is in Northeast Florida. Notice this plane in the air, not moving at all. She pulls out her camera, y'all. I swear, y'all. She is recording for quite a bit of time. Why isn't this plane moving? Why isn't it moving, y'all? Look.
It's literally not moving.
It's not going anywhere, y'all. Look at this. Can somebody please explain to me why this plane isn't moving in the sky? Okay, y'all probably gonna say it's the parallax effect, but we already know all of our history is a lie and is made up. So what if the parallax effect was something made up? So when we start to see things like this, like we start to call people crazy, or you're making it up, Y'all, the plane is not moving at all. The plane is not moving at all. And this is supposedly a machine that's supposed to move through the air at hundreds of miles an hour. Does that look like hundreds of miles an hour to you, y'all? Yeah, the shift is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all. Like, follow, and share for more videos like it. Let's continue.
Part 4. Firstly, this woman really wanted to bring her bottle of water on a flight. But if you've ever traveled on an airplane, you'll know that you can't carry more than 3.4 ounces of liquid with you. So in 2013, she came up with a genius loophole. She carried a large can of water with her, but the water was frozen. And according to the law, you can't carry water in a liquid state, but you can bring frozen water. Moving on, you can't bring alcohol to a music festival. But in 2017, a man named Alex Diamond came up with a genius idea. A few days before the Electric Zoo Music Festival, he went to the site and buried a water bottle filled with alcohol, pinning the exact location on Google Maps. A few days later, when the festival started, he went to the same spot and dug up the bottle. Finally, this kid was having fun playing games on his computer, until his parents told him to go outside and play. So he took his computer outside and started playing there.
Those 5,000 IQ moves, man. The hell are we watching? Those are definitely some edits, right?
This might be the scariest thing that ever happened to America. We all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But this has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. But a demonic whispering was coming from every TV in America. Many people believed that it was the devil trying to get across some message. But nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but everybody believes it was the works of the devil.
What do you guys think? What was that? What was the cause of all those TVs going out and for this playing that audio? Was a message trying to get through? Or were they testing something? Because you know how they be testing stuff with the TVs. Some questions, man, that's coming into my mind.
After a massive manhunt, the missing hiker has been found alive after 10 days. And how he survived is crazy. 34-year-old Lucas only planned an afternoon hike in California's oldest state park. So he set out with very few supplies and not even a t-shirt, expecting to return home in a few hours. However, he soon became disorientated as recent wildfires had destroyed familiar landmarks. And since Lucas didn't tell anyone where he was going, the alarm was only raised after he missed Father's Day lunch 5 days after he set out. This sparked a massive manhunt involving nearly 300 people and multiple agencies. While they searched, Lucas wandered the forest, slept on wet leaves, foraged for berries, and drank water he collected from his boots. Without a t-shirt or any supplies to start a fire, he developed hypothermia. He was stalked by a mountain lion, and things got really bad when he got injured after slipping on a wet rock face. Lucas lost over 30 pounds and spent the last 48 hours just lying there screaming for help. On day 10, a drone and a sniffer dog finally found him, and at last he was reunited with his family waiting for him on the forest's edge.
Man, goes to show you, everybody needs to have some natural, I guess, camping ability or skills, because you never know what can happen. Or you'll be put in that situation. Where's this guy?
Scariest interviews with serial killers. Serial killer John Hughes. John Hughes was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to life in prison in 2010.
Damn.
When he was interviewed and asked if he would kill again, he said this:
Because you kill again.
More than positive. I got different thoughts. Then he was asked if he felt bad for the murders he had committed, and this is what he said.
You don't feel bad about killing anyone?
Not personally, that I've personally done myself, no.
Why?
Wrong place, wrong time. Follow for more.
Very eerie, man. No remorse.
Do you know how weird time is? If you have two twins that are 20 years old and you sent one of them to the star Sirius at 99% the speed of light and then flew back again, the twin who stayed on Earth would be 37 years old and the twin who was traveling would only be 22 years old. Every single person on Earth, including you, is living in the past because our brains don't perceive an event until about 80 milliseconds after it's already happened. It is a very fine line, but that's why some physicists argue that there's no such thing as the present moment. The way that you perceive the passing of time is heavily dependent on the language you use. People in most Western cultures perceive the passing of time as being left to right, because that's how we write, but other cultures perceive it as up to down, east to west, or right to left. Time is actually passing faster for your face than it is for your feet, because the closer you are to the center of the Earth, the slower time moves. A year at the top of Mount Everest is 15 microseconds shorter than it is at sea level.
Wow.
This strange creature be? An alien, or perhaps a demon? What we need to keep in mind is that when the body of a fur-bearing animal decays, especially if it's in a moist area or submerged in water, the fur will often fall off before the skin decomposes. And it is for that reason that I am very confident we are looking at nothing more than the corpse of a decomposing monkey.
Creepiest home camera footage. In 2017, a mother in Billings, Montana woke up in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. Her phone was synced to a baby monitor she had set up in her infant daughter's room. On this night, upon being alerted, she opened the app expecting to see her daughter awake in the crib. But instead she saw this. A man she didn't know is seen crouched down in the room. She saw this and ran to the room to retrieve her daughter and run out the house. She didn't see anyone in the room but wasn't exactly looking. When she called the cops, they arrived and conducted a search of the home but didn't find anything. A very odd detail is that it was found that nothing but the remote to a dog shock collar was stolen from the house. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown.
That's crazy. That's really like one of my worst fears. Like somebody's in your house and you have no idea they were there. Like, that's very creepy and eerie, man. How somebody can be in your house and they could be in that vicinity for so long and you have no idea. That's insane. Where's the sky? Edit. Call it out like you see it. He's known for his edits.
These are things humans should never hear, part 1.
Okay.
What I'm about to show you is a simulation of what happened to Alaskan Flight 261 following a catastrophic loss of pitch control, killing all 88 people on board. This is real audio footage of the plane going down between the pilots and air traffic control. The plane went inverted, meaning it was flying upside down, and just listen to how calm the pilots are.
No survivors? So calm. Damn.
Genius People Who Beat the System, Part 1. This student was only allowed to have a one-page cheat sheet. So they wrote a whole page of notes in blue pen and another page in red pen. They then brought 3D glasses to class, so when they looked through the blue side, they could see the red pen, and when they looked through the red side, they could see the blue pen. This guy's new job required a photo of him in a suit for their new website. But since he doesn't own a suit, he just photoshopped his face over this guy's face, and honestly, it looks pretty real. A girl's dad went to Vegas for 5 days and put a camera in the living room to make sure she didn't have any parties. But the girl wasn't going to let that stop her from partying, so she came up with a pretty creative solution. This parking spot says only green vehicles can park there, but I think the owner of this car took that a bit too literally. This kid's mom told him that food wasn't allowed in the living room and his tablet wasn't allowed in the kitchen, so it's safe to say that he beat the system.
People, man. When they want to beat the system, they'll think of something. What the hell is that?
God. This creature, nay, this nightmare, is something so incredibly rare, it is likely that none of you have ever heard tell of its kind before. It's called a turtle.
What?
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington in Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a dog companion. It may be possible that How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Connected, man? Media's connecting?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
That's some crazy info, especially about those mannequins outside the house. I think somebody commented on, like, they give a reason why that's there, but need to check that out again. But the things we heard about the saying when the skin lions vegan suit, there was a lot of rumors that some weird stuff was going on behind that movie. So, and you know how Hollywood is nowadays. So now imagine back in the days what was going on then.
Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Damn. It kind of sounds like a Wakanda, freaking like origin story. How the metal just fall to earth and they just made weapons out of it, or just forged it. It's actually insane. The parallels between those two
when the bravest bear in history was just a cub, his mother was slain by hunters, and the poor orphan was carried off to a train station in
Iran. But when he was rescued by Polish soldiers fleeing the Soviet Union, they bottle-fed him back to health with milk and honey. And on cold nights, he even cuddled up next to them in their tents. Imitating the soldiers, he learned how to smoke, drink, and wrestle. And when the men went on patrol, he'd march alongside them on his hind legs. When a spy broke into the Polish camp, he sniffed him out while hiding in the showers. And when the intruder laid eyes on his furry foe, his panic scream alerted every soldier within miles to his presence. But when the Poles boarded British boats bound for the Italian campaign of World War II, they were presented with a strict policy prohibiting pets on their ships. Yet not willing to leave the brown bear behind, they found a loophole and formally enrolled him into the Polish army as a private. During the famous Battle of Monte Cassino, the Germans had fortified a monastery upon a hill and had devastatingly repulsed 3 prior attacks. But carrying crates of ammunition that would normally require 4 strong men, the courageous cub charged up the hill, successfully resupplying the Polish artillery. And even in the face of heavy enemy fire, he never dropped a single crate, allowing Allied forces to capture the stronghold and gaining promotion to corporal for his bravery. After the war ended, the Iron Curtain prevented the Poles from returning home, and so the brave bear was brought to a zoo in Scotland, where he was frequently visited by his fighting friends, who'd often bring him treats and jump into his enclosure for a good wrestle. And it's said that for the rest of his life, he would happily stand up and salute whenever he heard Polish. When you're the most ferocious furry fighting force to ever fight for the free world, they don't just call you the greatest bear, they call you Corporal Wojtek.
Could you live on a pillar for decades without coming down? It sounds impossible, but this was actually a way of life that emerged around the 5th century CE in the Eastern Roman Empire. These Christian ascetics were known as stylites. They would eat, sleep, fast, write, all on top of a pillar for years without coming down. They would rely on the locals to give them food. The earliest known stylite was a man named Simeon. He was a Christian ascetic from the 5th century CE near the city of Aleppo in Syria. He wanted to be left alone, so he climbed up a pillar. But he actually became more popular when he climbed up and started living on here, so his plan sort of backfired. He ended up spending around 37 years living on a pillar. Travelers would climb up ladders to reach him just to have a conversation. Certainly an interesting way of life.
How the hell they stayed up there for so long?
So this preacher from Zimbabwe claims he can walk on air.
Okay. Is this an edit?
Well, I'm convinced. Hail Messiah! There's definitely no other explanation for why his feet were off the ground, like people on the side holding him up. That's definitely not what happened. It's not like you can see the shadow of the door closing on his left when you slow down the footage. Just shut up and tell me where to donate my money. I mean, come on, it's not like people use religion to scam people. I mean, yes, the preacher has a nicer house than all of us, but then again, he walks on air and we don't.
Case closed.
Is he scamming like that? And people will believe him?
Terrifying sounds extinct animals used to admit, and the last one's the worst. If you don't know this extinct mega chicken, you must be living your life under a rock. This is a dodo bird. 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, and a pair of chicken wings that are more useless than a penguin's. It can make an omelet for a family and produce a sound that would cause me to move to Mars. The lizard that got into your bag of tread, the velociraptor. Or should I say Jurassic Myth, because they didn't look like this at all. Hollywood lied to you. At least the film's fuck-up looks more like a Utah raptor. This is actually what a velociraptor looks like. It's basically also just a giant chicken. Moving 25 miles per hour and hunting in packs isn't the scary part. It's the way they sound. The only difference between this next animal and my meat is that it went extinct, the Titanoboa. And if this BGC's length at 50 fuck-no feet isn't impressive enough, how about its 3 feet in girth? This twisty telephone pole could squeeze at 400 psi, crushing any 20-foot crocodile that lived at the time. Damn. And this no-bro makes a sound like no other. The extinct blubberbuzz that used to swallow the megalodon, the Leviathan whale. This living sea monster is a distant cousin of our daily sperm whale.
What?
Except unlike the living load we have today that primarily consumes giant squid, the Leviathan had no predators and ate everything. And the sound alone is enough to terrify me. Congratulations, you made it to the final animal. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but the T-Rex doesn't actually look this way. Real-life Reptar looks much more terrifying with a haircut like Grandpa. And boy, do I have news for you. Their arms weren't useless. It said that they could have bench pressed up to 400 pounds. And did I mention they can also swim? The sound they made is weird, but the closest relative they have alive today is also weird. It's the chicken. I'm so sorry it had to end this way.
What?
Enjoy.
Okay. Chicken is related to the T-Rex. The more you know.
Sorry for being so unprofessional. Whoa! Wow! No way!
It's an edit.
Hey, my name is Ajax, and in case you didn't know, I am the first and only animal made to make music born of rock, stardust, and mold.
How many of you guys remember this girl? She went absolutely viral in 2020 for making faces in court. But before we get into her story, my name is Ashley, and if you guys like crime, creepy, and unbelievable stories, check out my YouTube channel or my TikTok for more content. So this girl's name is Isabella Guzman, and in 2013, she fatally stabbed her mother over 79 times. The video that went viral was actually from 2013, but somehow it took 7-8 years for it to reach mass audience. So initially, Isabella was quite young when she started exhibiting a lot of behavioral issues. She was living with her mother at the time, but when she was 7 years old, she was sent to live with her father. After a few years went by, her father then sent her to go live with her mother again when she was a teenager. And in August of 2013, the relationship between Isabella and her mother quickly deteriorated. They were fighting quite often, and on August 27th, they had an argument that ended with Isabel spitting in her mother's face. The following morning, Isabella's mother received an email saying, "You will pay." Obviously, she was terrified and didn't know what else to do with her daughter, so she called the police. The police arrived to her home and then talked to Isabella, telling her that if she didn't straighten up, that her mother could legally kick her out of the house. Isabella's mother then called her biological father to come talk to Isabella. He came over to their house and had a long talk with her in the backyard, talking to her about respect. According to him, he thought that they had made a lot of progress, but then a few hours later, everything changed. August 28, 2013, around 9:30 p.m., Isabella's mother, Yeonmi Hoi, arrived home. She told her husband she was going to head upstairs and take a shower. That's when her husband hears these awful screams coming from upstairs. Obviously, he runs upstairs to see what's wrong, and when he gets to the bathroom, he sees Isabella slamming the bathroom door shut, locking herself and her mother in the bathroom. He tried as hard as he could to get that door open, but it was locked. All he heard was screaming and an obvious struggle going on. Then he saw blood seeping through the bottom of the door and called 911. Then, as the door was opening, he heard his wife say the word Jehovah, and then Isabella walked out of the bathroom with a bloody knife. Apparently, Isabella didn't say a single thing, just stared at him and walked away like nothing had happened. Runs into the bathroom to check on his wife when he discovers that she had been brutally stabbed 79 times. Unfortunately, she passed away. By the time police arrived, Isabella had run away from the home, but police quickly found her the following day, hiding in a nearby parking garage. On September 5, 2013, Isabella was brought into court for the first time, and that's where we see the video of her making all these faces. Later find out that Isabella was actually suffering from schizophrenia and had delusions for years. According to her, she didn't remember that she was stabbing her mother. She thought that she was stabbing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. The judge accepted her plea of mental insanity and sentenced her to a mental facility. In June 2021, Isabella was given permission to leave the hospital for her therapy sessions. She has expressed remorse for what happened, but also said that her mother was extremely abusive towards her.
Dr. Disrespect was sent to jail this morning. This tweet is going viral for literally exposing him. I don't want to read some of this stuff on TikTok because this video might get taken down. The former Twitch employee just exposed him for
Oh my gosh. There's no name that was mentioned for the person that he was doing it to, but it has came out that it was Dr. Disrespect. Now, as a lot of people know, Dr. Disrespect has been banned off of Twitch for like a couple years now. And the reason was always unknown. Dr. Disrespect, even on stream, say like, I can't say like why I was banned on Twitch. It's like a whole legal thing right now. Basically, he couldn't leak it because it was all legal and like you just couldn't tell all of his audience. The fact that he was hiding something that maybe was this is... That is so disgusting, dude. But he doesn't, like, I know you can't really say that. Doesn't look like a person that would do that. Like, bro is a white, bro has millions of dollars. I don't think he would ever do something like that. That's exactly what the comments say underneath this tweet. Fake news, the information isn't confirmed by Twitch. Honestly, this whole tweet is just speculation. Let me know if y'all think this is true, and what do y'all think about this?
Crazy.
Disrespect was actually talking to a minor. He just confirmed this on Twitter. This wasn't a joke. Everybody thought the news was fake, and that's why he was banned on Twitch, because he was talking to someone underage inappropriately, but no. This is the tweet that he just tweeted. I'll just cut to the juicy part of it. Were there Twitch whisper messaging with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. He was speaking to someone underage, which is fine, right? These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. I guess Twitch saw that in his DM, and that's why he got banned. Oh, that's insane that he literally admitted this. That's actually crazy. He did say, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures, no crimes. But you know, that's good. I mean, it was just Twitch whispers. But like, bro, this is so surprising. Like, he has a kid. He's a multi-millionaire, like 6'6". Like, you would never think a guy like this would ever get in like a... You never think he would get caught up in something like this. Yeah, what do y'all think about this? Apparently, he didn't do anything illegal, but the rumors were true. This is what all this...
That's crazy, man. Dr. Disrespect, you know, is one of the biggest streamers in the world. I don't understand why people in positions like that, they always... It's like they can't control themselves. They always have to do something immoral, man. Man, people was always wondering why he got banned. I still remember he got freaking banned on Twitch or something like that. It was trending, and people kept asking him why. But he could never give an answer. But now, I guess you know why. You wouldn't want something like that to come out. That's basically going to end his career. I don't know how we're going to come out from this. Never in a million years would people think this was the reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned.
Streamers had to say about Dr. Disrespect. Explicit messages to a minor. This is the saddest one of all, Tim the Tatman. As you know, Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tatman went way back. They always played games together. I remember watching Tim the Tatman stream, and he was like all excited to play with Doc finally once he switched over to YouTube. Now that this came out, he posted this very sad story on Twitter. It was like, if the messages are true, then I just can't see myself playing with them, which makes sense. You can't support this type of behavior. By the way, guys, this isn't a made-up rumor. He did do this. He literally tweeted that the answer is yes, he did send Twitch messages to a individual that was a minor back in 2017, and they did. Some of them were inappropriate. It's crazy seeing everybody respond. Jacksepticeye guy says effing disgusting when he puts like the tweet out. Pokimane just tweets out yuck. That's crazy. Ray says Dr. Disgusting. 40,000 likes. That's insane. Even Nadia responds. Never mind. Who cares about Nadia? My bad. And of course, Nick Merckx responded. I'm not going to put that up on here. Get a lot of extra stuff to say, so I'll go on Twitter and look at that. I don't know, man. The guy's like 6'6", millions of dollars, family, kids, and he was doing this type of stuff. And even though this was a while ago, this was a couple years ago that he got banned on Twitch, I don't know. What do y'all think about this? This is really sad.
Work. On October 23rd, an Indonesian man reported his wife Jahra missing when she failed to return home after working a shift at a rubber plantation. After searching the plantation, her scarf, sandals, jacket, and working tools were found, but she could not be located. Not long after, a 20-foot python was spotted that looked extremely bloated. They killed and cut open the snake and found Jahra's body inside. Her body was intact, meaning that she had been swallowed whole.
By a python swallowed whole?
This is why you should always actually listen to what children tell you. This 9-year-old boy literally lived on midnight snacks because every night he would come downstairs and eat a ton of junk food. Until one night he was in the kitchen and thought he heard something from around the corner, but everyone was asleep. So he peeked around the corner and that's when he saw a man guzzling milk straight from the carton. The terrified boy ran upstairs, got his parents, and they all checked out the kitchen, but it looked normal. They told him that his imagination was just playing tricks on him, but the boy knew what he saw. So days went by, but the boy always felt like he was being watched, until one night he looked up at his ceiling vent and saw 2 eyes staring back down at him. He ran to go tell his parents, but again, they told him it's just your imagination, stop bothering us. Then the boy smelled this really horrible stench coming from the ceiling, so he convinced his parents to cut into it and see what was up there. And there they found that same skinny man who was drinking the milk dead in the ceiling.
Listen to the kids, man. They're telling the truth.
Scariest urban legend from each state, Part 3. Annabelle from Connecticut. The demonic doll you see in the Conjuring and Annabelle movies was actually based on a real-life Raggedy Ann doll that was supposedly inhabited by a spirit of a dead girl who was then trapped in a spirit case by Ed and Lorraine Warren. It's also stated if you look at the doll the wrong way or dare to touch the case, your future looks extremely dark.
The lies that Disney tells to avoid traumatizing children. Pocahontas. She was 10 years old. And he was 27.
They ain't put that in an animated movie.
She called him father. Sleeping Beauty. It is based on a story where a married king finds a sleeping princess. And the princess gave birth to a pair of twins while she was sleeping. The Little Mermaid. The prince married another. And the Little Mermaid turned into sea foam.
I don't know if that's cap or fact, man. We're gonna have to check that out. These videos we watch together, man, always check for yourself.
3 seconds. If you don't see it, you die.
Is that an elephant?
Alright, time's up, and if you didn't see the hyena, you are now a hypothetical hashtag. Let's talk about the lion-hyena beef, and how it has a living laugh track guts deep in an elephant. So it's actually not a beef more than a blowout, because lions do hyenas dirty. Being an animal nerd is realizing lions steal from hyenas more than hyenas do to lions. The reason you thought it was the opposite was because all those times researchers would watch a lion eat and hyenas trying to steal a piece, whole time the hyenas were trying to steal back what was stolen from them. Hyenas have a higher hunting success rate, because they're homicide on Duracell. They do not get tired, they will run you into a grave. Lions, especially males, are good, but they don't have the stamina, but they do have the bulk to solo bigger prey, but also take a hyena's lunch. Fun fact, it takes about 20 hyenas to humble a male lion. And they know it. They also know that hyenas are their biggest competition on the plains and will murk them on sight. Now hyenas will roll in clans of up to 80, so they'll get their get back when they have the numbers, but band for band versus a lion king, they take the L almost every time. Hyenas are smart, and they've been known to hide inside expired elephants to avoid not just rival hyenas, but pirating lions too. Doing that means they can finesse more mealtime without getting hurt, murked, or put on a shirt. Moral of the story? Now you see why they pulled up in the elephant graveyard. Maybe. I don't know. The more you know.
This daycare owner shot her husband twice after she found this out. Shantiri Weems and her husband James owned this daycare called Kids Castle. On July 2022, a woman whose child was attending Kids Castle approached Shantiri and told her that her daughter was being molested by James. Shantiri lost it, and in that moment, she made her way to a hotel in Washington, D.C. where James was staying at and shot him in the neck and thigh. Shantiri admits that her intentions were to paralyze James because she was just so angry. Keep in mind, Shantiri loved kids and her job, and she wanted this daycare to be something where kids felt like they were safe. And she said after seeing the pain in this mother's face, she snapped. James had contact with 93 children, and most of them rode on the daycare bus with him, which is where most of the abuse happened. And this story only gets more disturbing, and James was also a retired Baltimore police officer. But ultimately, Shantiri was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and the judge said that she should have never taken the law into her own hands. James, on the other hand, faces 30 counts of child sexual abuse and assault charges.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 18. A man from Queens once spent 5 months in jail completely unaware that his bail was just $2. Since spiders molt, when you see what you might think is a dead spider, it could just be that the spider left behind its exoskeleton and is now bigger than before. Almost everyone on Earth is walking around with a bunch of poop inside of them. Scientists accidentally killed the world's oldest living animal, which was a clam that lived to be 507 years old. Statistically speaking, at least one person who comments on this video will not be alive tomorrow. The real reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of getting sick from eating raw eggs. It's because you shouldn't eat raw flour.
which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying over the field and pooping on the wheat.
Today we're going to be talking about the urban legend of Huggin' Molly from Abbeville, Alabama. Also, I'm starting a new series about urban legends by state, and we're starting with Alabama because it's the first one in alphabetical order. She's a ghostly presence that is 7 feet tall, and she wears like this black cloak, and she haunts the town at night, and she apparently grabs kids that are being bad, and she screams in their ear at the top of her lungs, which can be deafening. Some people think that she was a mother who lost her children. Some people think that she was a school teacher back when she was alive. I like the school teacher theory, honestly, because like I was a substitute for years and I would also do this in the afterlife. Also, I love that it's so southern that it's actually Huggin' Molly. Like as a Texan, okay, I appreciate the southern drawl on that. It looks like she even has her own Pokemon card.
What?
But she's so entwined with the town of Abbeville that she's even on the sign for when you enter the town. This would be a great place to take the kiddos. This is from the Huggin' Molly movie. Why does it kind of look like me at the movie theater when I'm pissed off that they run out of Twizzlers? But like 7 feet tall? Hello, mommy. She's an icon. She is the moment. We love her. How do you feel about Miss Molly?
I ain't going there, bro. I can scratch that off the list. Huggin' Molly, we will not be going there.
What people saw in this picture is what led them to believe that ghosts are real. When you look at this picture, what do you see? It just looks like a picture of a man having a picnic, sitting on a bench with his child at the park. The guy in this picture's name is Christopher. His wife was the one holding the camera and taking this picture. They didn't think anything of it. He posted the picture on his Facebook page, and that's when people noticed something in the picture and had so many questions. Zoom in, take a look around. Can you see it? It looks like there's a woman in the top left corner of this picture. Christopher and his wife both confirmed that it was just the three of them at the park this day, and they didn't notice anything when she took the picture. This is where it takes an interesting spin, because just a year before the picture was taken, this woman went missing in the same area. She was later found deceased inside of the pond. Some people said that this figure in the top left corner has an eerily similar resemblance. What do you think about this?
This is the haunt.
Could that have been a ghost, man? I don't know. After hearing what happened in that area, bro, it definitely sound like some spirits definitely roaming around there. And I wouldn't be in that area. They caught that on camera too, 4K. Who knows?
Haunting story that inspired sinners. Robert Johnson was a young man living on a plantation in rural Mississippi with dreams of becoming a musician. It's said that he walked to a crossroads and made a deal with the devil to improve his guitar playing. Because anyone who heard Robert Johnson play, and you can find some of his audio on YouTube, they all said he was extremely talented. Legend says he sold his soul to Satan, and others will say the African god Papa Legba. When you make a deal to the devil, he always comes back to collect. Robert Johnson got to experience some success, but it was short-lived. Robert Johnson died for reasons unknown at the age of 27, making him an inaugural member of the 27 Club. Selling your soul to the devil could also be a phrase from Southern conservatives to say that you are leaving the church and instead choosing to play music in dance halls where there is drinking and other kinds of sinning going on. Some other more logical theories are that Robert Johnson had syphilis or that he was poisoned for flirting with another man's wife. A fellow blues player, Honeyboy Edwards, claims to be witness to this poisoning. Honeyboy said Robert was offered a bottle of whiskey and he knocked it out of his hand, saying that he should never drink something that he hasn't seen opened, which is good advice. Instead, Robert got mad at him and accepted a second drink and fell ill hours later. A lot of his songs reference crossroads and the devil, and Ryan Coogler said on the Mike Muse show that these mythical references helped inspire the idea for Sinners. If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts and follow for more.
I've heard they said Sinners is like a freaking great movie. They've been clamoring. They even put it back in IMAX and some more IMAX theaters. Any of the seekers actually checked it out? Sounds like a crazy story, man. But Ryan Coogler got, I guess, inspired by to put it in the movie. That's why I guess it's so good.
Little girl will forever share her birthday with the date her mother died.
This is who
This is who you ruined her life. She will never know her mommy.
23-year-old Yesenia Aguilar was 8 months pregnant when this woman who was under the influence ran her over. Yesenia and her husband were walking together on the sidewalk when Courtney Pandolfi came out of nowhere and hit Yesenia. What's crazy is that this was Courtney's 5th DUI since 2008. Fortunately, after an emergency C-section, the baby survived. But the mother didn't, and the father, James Alvarez, says that it's been difficult accepting the fact that his wife died on the same day that his daughter was born.
Scariest urban legends from every US state. This shows some of the most popular urban legends from every single state across the USA. And as you've probably guessed, in this series we're going through all of them. From the most normal ones to the really dark, disturbing ones. So let's kick off part 2. Oh, this is creepy. So the legend goes, a long time ago in New York in a children's hospital. Children would be in this hospital and at night obviously they'd basically just be left alone. The legend was about someone called Cropsy. Cropsy has a hook for a hand and lurks around at night in the children's hospital. He stalked and unalived these people who he found walking in the corridors at night. Apparently everybody who goes to camp in upstate New York knows about this legend, so let me know if that's true. This is where things get even more disturbing. A documentary was posted which basically confirmed this was real. Convicted killer and kidnapper Andrew Rand. That's him there in the middle, and it was real. A follow button, it's going to get crazy, and let me know which state you're from.
It's a crazy story, man, that happened in New York. What the hell? Kids' hospitals? I don't know why they mad.
Let's talk about some real creepy American urban legends. And today we'll be talking about the Dead Children's Playground. Now, the Dead Children's Playground is one of Huntsville, Alabama's most haunted locations. And it is located within Maple Hill Cemetery. And it might look like a typical ordinary playground, but the kids that play on this playground is not alive. Now, accounts differ on why locals call this playground the Dead Children's Playground, because it was originally called the Maple Hill Park. But some say the children that passed away in the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic was buried in the Maple Hill Cemetery that's like right next door to this park, come back at night to play on this playground. And others think that the reason of the paranormal activity at this playground was from a series of child abductions that happened in Huntsville in around like the 1960s. And there was like several children bodies that was recovered near this playground. But there has been lots of people over the years that have encountered seeing a lot of paranormal activity going on. Like they could literally see the swings moving without any type of wind or drift to be able to push these swings. Lots of people have actually spotted children that like would disappear off, or different type of orbs. There's even some kind of pictures online that people have claimed to have taken of these children or the different orbs around this playground. But I mean, it's not really weird that this playground would be haunted because it's literally connected to a very popular cemetery. And like I said before, with this pandemic, this was like a worldwide pandemic, and lots of children and adults passed away during this pandemic. And it unalived at least the estimate of 50 million people worldwide during the time. And the hospitals were like filled, and the doctors was working long shifts to, help the patients out. And a lot of patients basically had to be treated at home in quarantine. And it got to the point where bodies was literally having to be stacked on wagons and hauled to morgues by horses. And according to the Alabama Department of Public Health, it hit Alabama really hard. But although there's not an actual account of the number of children that passed away during this pandemic, but people believe that it was at least hundreds that was buried in the Maple Hill Cemetery. And the original playground equipment was removed in 2007 to make room for the expanding cemetery. But a lot of the locals and citizens was outraged and demanded that the original, equipment be returned. And the city responded with the new playground that stands there today. So let me know if y'all ever heard of this urban legend, or if y'all live in the Huntsville, Alabama area and y'all have seen some stuff, because I believe it. The playground is right beside the cemetery, so that's not really weird that a lot of paranormal activity happens here. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Alabama is a haunting place, bro. What the hell the ghost get
Well,
up
it's
there?
Halloween again, which means once a year I have an excuse to talk about this, so here you go. The most toxic relationship in all of nature. Or at least top 2 if certain entanglements count. That is an anglerfish, although you might recognize them as the demon guppy that nearly put Nemo in a foster home. It's also canon that this was a female, because the female fish are about 40 times bigger than the males they dwarf. That's like being 5'2" with some attitude, but your man's only an inch and a half. So the bite-sized male tracks her down in the dark through pheromones and bites her. You already know how this goes. While still attached to her, the male starts to degenerate and his body begins to fuse with hers on some like Deviant Steven Universe timing. I'm talking about like even his blood vessels fuse into hers. This parasitic +1 even starts to lose his internal organs because again, he's not like he's gonna need them. And that's it. That's the rest of his life, just a war on the female whose only purpose is fertilizing eggs. Basically becomes a living STD, and like Stid, sometimes you don't just get one. Some females can end up with several lumps on their bodies that used to be males. It's a nasty codependent relationship because the male's a parasite that will pretty much die if he doesn't find a female to leech off of. And the female just uses him as a nut factory with no almonds. Whole time she can have a whole herd of he herpes or I guess himpies stuck to her. Now you see why she wanted Nemo in the system. I don't even blame her. That's a horrendous script to have written for you.
These are scary urban legends in each state, part 4. Up first is La Mala Ora. La Mala Ora is located in New Mexico and is a very scary and dangerous demonic spirit. She walks around lonely roads after midnight and terrorizes those who travel alone. People who have seen her say she appears as a large black lump, constantly moving and changing shape. But the scariest part about La Mala Ora is that anyone who lays eyes on her will be driven completely insane. She tries to hypnotize and paralyze anyone who encounters her. Some people even believe the devil himself is scared of La Mala Ora. People who live in New Mexico also say that she really never appears in human form. But if she does, it means somebody you know or yourself is going to die soon. So if you live in New Mexico, I feel bad for you.
La Mala Ora. When I go to New Mexico, we gotta be
Creepy
aware.
True Stories Part 2. Dylan Koshman moved in with his 2 cousins, Colin and Nick. Dylan had met a new girlfriend named Erin. They fell for each other and she was always at the house, so the cousins really got mad and started to demand more rent from Dylan. One night, Dylan and the cousins got really drunk and a big fight broke out. They told Dylan to move out that night and they said he left and never came back. A few days later, Dylan's mom asked them to file a missing person report, but they never did. Instead, the girlfriend did. No traces of Dylan have been found since, and nobody knows what happened. The aunt says she found bloody tissues in their house, and the cousins say that Dylan left at 2 a.m., but the neighbors complained at 4 a.m. to the cops about loud noises. Lesson of the day, your girl will ride for you. What do you guys think happened? Did the cousins do something?
I don't know.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. So as we know, this photo right here shows all of the different conspiracy theories in the world, going from the least scary to, well, the scariest of the scary. So today let's kick off part 6 where stuff gets even wilder. So if you're easily scared or easily confused, keep on scrolling, do not watch this series. If you're here for the long run though, let's go. So today we've got dream theory, often referred to as alternate perception. Now this is just messed up and really confusing, so stick with me. Right, so you know when you have a lucid dream where it's really believable and you feel everything? You can literally control what happens in your dreams. It may be like real life. You know, you may be doing things you do in your everyday life, whatever. And sometimes you wake up and think, was that a dream? That's really weird. The theory is that we're actually switched. Now, stay with me. Basically, the theory is that what we're in right now, what I'm talking to you, you're watching TikTok, whatever, this is actually the dream world. So we're all dreaming. When we go to sleep and dream, that's actually the real world. See what I mean? Done a little switcheroo there. See what I mean? It's messed up and confusing. But if you think about it, we can control some of our dreams. So it is possible that that's another consciousness and another life. Hit that follow button so you never miss a part.
That dream theory, bro, got to me, man. How many have been in a dream yet? We've been able to control it. I think that only happened to me a couple of times. That's freaking mind-blowing to say that. I guess the moment we're in right now is the dream world, but when we actually go to sleep and dream, that's a real life, a different set of consciousness. It's mind-boggling, man. But it's interesting, though. We gotta dive deep into that one. These are some important questions, man. Or some interesting ones.
This will make you always keep your hands under the covers. A young girl is home alone because her parents are out of town, with only her dog for company. She turns on the TV to learn that a killer is on the loose in her neighborhood. She runs to check the windows and locks all the doors, but she forgets about the basement window. She takes the dog with her to go to sleep and lets him sleep under the bed. But she awakes hours later to a dripping sound. She's too scared to move, so she reaches down to see if her dog is still there, and is granted with a reassuring lick. She then goes to the bathroom to make sure there isn't a leak, but when she walks in, she finds her dog dead, hanging from the shower head, with blood slowly dripping onto the tiles. On the bathroom mirror, written in the dog's blood, are the words, "People can lick too."
Mythical creatures caught on camera. The bloop.
About to see the bloop? I thought that was a megalodon. Clear so far. We see something swimming in the distance.
Did y'all know that Miss Mary Mack, the nursery rhyme, is not so cute and sweet? Now let's talk about the scary meaning behind Miss Mary Mack. Now, like I mentioned before, a lot of these nursery rhymes, kid-friendly books and songs and movies was not kid-friendly and often originated from something so dark and creepy. Now, legend has it, Miss Mary Mack was born back in the day, and she was born with lots of deformities. Back then, people literally looked at you as if you were some type of alien if you had any type of deformities. They weren't educated on, being autistic or, having Down syndrome or different, things that we see on a day-to-day basis. So they said that her family was ashamed of her, and she grew up in the church. Like the church basically, helped her out. And the church also was in charge over the graveyards and keeping up with the graves. So they said she was always out there and she was really good at it, and she was insanely strong to the point where she had like superhuman strength, like literally could just do all this stuff that would take several men hours and hours and even sometimes days to do. She could do in like 30 minutes all by herself. And it was said that the children in the area would often pick on her and taunt her and make these different songs where they made the Miss Mary Mack, 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 all dressed in black. Black, black, the song that we used to sing. And allegedly after the third time they sung that song, that's when Mary would come out and tear them up one by one. Now some even say that this song comes from a U.S. warship called the USS Mary Mack or something like that. And it was said that the ship was actually black and covered with silver buttons, which is what the song states about the silver buttons on the back. But that still was a ship that was used to fight in the Civil War. So either or, if it was based off Mary the Gravekeeper or this U.S. warship, why is this a children's song? And another thing is, when did we learn this? Because I remember just, doing Ring Around the Rosie and Miss Mary Mack, but who taught us that? I don't ever remember like my parents or my family members like singing that to us, so how did we know about this song? But yeah, a lot of these stories have a lot of twisted lore and just weird things, and I'm like, who made this into a kid nursery rhyme? But let me know what y'all think in the comments. And I'm also going to tag another creator that goes way in depth about the legend of Miss Mary Mack, the Gravekeeper. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
That's just some important questions, man. Where do we pick those songs up at, man? At school? When we hear it around us?
Top 3 creepy last words people said right before dying. A nurse said that one night she was floated to oncology at the hospital she used to work at. She was given a patient who was passing away and had been unconscious for several days. At one point during the night, the nurse went into the room and the patient was on top of the bed. She looked at the nurse and said, "Don't let them take me." The nurse was freaked out and she asked her who was going to take her, and the patient said, "That black thing up there," and pointed up in the air. The patient died within minutes. A guy was rushed into a level 1 trauma facility from a motorcycle versus truck collision. The guy's able to talk at the beginning. He was drunk and cussing out the doctors and nurses trying to help him. They end up intubating him to preserve the airway, and he's going downhill fast. He codes, but they manage to bring him back. Suddenly, the guy comes completely to, rips out his tube, grabs one of the med student's hands, and lets out a breathy-like scream. "Don't let me die. I'm going to hell. Please don't let me die," he said. This freaks out everyone. The guy said he woke up in hell on fire and keeps begging someone to check his feet for burns. Nobody could believe that he pulled out his tube and was talking. Despite everything they did, the guy still died. The doctors and nurses were freaked out about it for weeks. Emma said that when she worked in a nursing home, they had a resident that was unpleasant, to say the least. One day, Emma was on bell duty. It was her responsibility to answer all the bells for 2 hours. hours, and the man rang his bell and told her that there was a black dog under his bed. Emma looked under the bed, but there was nothing there. She thought that he could have possibly seen a dog because it was a hot day and the front door to the home was open. She told him that the dog must have gone out the door before she arrived. He rang the bell again a short time later, insisting that he could see a dog under the bed. Again, Emma couldn't see anything. This carried on. He became quite hysterical on one occasion, shouting that the black dog under his bed was trying to bite him and that it had red eyes. He looked terrified, and Emma couldn't calm him down for ages until the dog disappeared. She handed over what happened to the nurse in charge and went home as it was the end of her shift. The next day, she was on afternoon shift, and she found out that the man had died not long after she had gone home. It really freaked her out. Emma said that he was a very unpleasant man, and she often wondered if the dog was there to take him away to you-know-where.
That dog had red eyes. I don't know what the heck he was saying there, man. Terrifying. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Comment down below. Don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you'll always get notified when I upload my next video.